ボストンブルービートビーチエピソードはバランスパッチ、トラベリングコントローラー、メタファイ、アクシス、レッドブル、ジャンクフードアーケード、メイン6、SNK。
Alright. Yo, we are live. Welcome to Boston Blue Beat Beach episode. It's been a long time coming, but we knew it was going to come. What a beautiful day for it to be on. I am Brad Musin. Joining me to open up this block today is Lasergician. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's beautiful out, beachy weather, beachy theme. You know what? We got the shades going.
We were ready.
We got a full
commit.
So we got a real good bracket coming up. We're going to start off with Guilty Gear Strive, one among the many games that we got running today at Boston Blue Beat. You know, we like to keep it fresh, bring in everything new. So we got DNF Duel up in the lineup for the first time, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
All the old standbys, got Blaze Blue, got King of Fighters, got Dragon Ball. But today, we're here for Strive right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what a bracket it is. I need to pull the bracket up on my phone to get the final numbers, but when we were looking earlier, the bracket was at 31, 32 players, and the line was already, in case you've not been to BP, if you have, you're going to know what I'm talking about, but you get in the front half of the room is a LAN cafe, and then it turns past the food counter to where the fighting games are, and the line was extending into the LAN cafe past...
We're talking 15, 20 people still lined up to sign up for the bracket before we even started.
Yeah, so, and that was already 30 or some odd players deep. Yeah, it looks like we just pulled the bracket up on the side. I'm trying to...
I think we're looking at...
Let's see if I'm smart enough to get there on my own phone.
Okay, we're bringing it up now, just waiting for this to load.
Yeah, and I know there were some out-of-state names in there as well. Obviously, one of the bigger events that we will put on, the biggest one that possible. Oh my word!
Look at this. This is beautiful. That is a bracket and a half.
That is insane. What is Nerd Josh doing at a bottom seat? Somebody, assuming that he actually made it here, because I know he pre-regged a while ago. But assuming that he actually made it through, someone should have words on that. But there's a couple of other names in here that we've seen before. Kazam.
Yep.
If I recall correctly, Kazam is the Milia player.
Yeah, has actually gotten a lot of success recently since Season 2 started. Been winning or top 3ing a lot of events here if my memory serves correctly.
Yeah, we've also got, I see Dormancy in the bracket as well, coming all the way down from Maine, my Casa brother. Merklo is in here. Is he still on the Geo?
Last I heard, yes, but I remember before he was talking about maybe switching it up, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if any switches did happen.
Yeah.
That'd be exciting.
Yeah, we see ShadowKlone in there as well, one of my favorite Jackos to watch.
We got Wallaby in here, one of the local Anji players, who near and dear to my heart as one of the only other Anji players in the region.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough out there for an Anji, but, Wallaby has been... I don't want to use the word championing. There's
pushing
a lot of
for Anji's success.
There's a lot of copium.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, Twitter salt, but that's what happens when you play that character. And you've also, Wallaby played Anji. Wallaby messed around with Plus R when that had its resurgence and was playing Anji there, right?
Yes.
It is quite a departure for the character.
Yeah, the character
from where they are from where they were to where they are.
Really got a decent rework from one game to the next, but that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, depends on what you like. I know,
that's very kind of you to say, but
yeah,
let's call a spade a spade.
It's like, for instance, Plage, one of the most well-known content creators for Anji, tried to make it work through all of Season 1, decided it wasn't for him, went back to Plus R after Season 2 didn't bring the changes he was looking for.
I know, Tales of Dawn, also a historic Anji player, who this game came out and was like, all right, this Anji ain't it, it's not for me. Yep. I know there's people that still muck around with him when they can, but you know what? To eat all of you, all power to you.
My other character, Biken, is eating good this season, so you know what? I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, Biken's looking great this season. I'm still a bit shook at the lack of Nago changes.
There's a couple characters who I think a lot of people were expecting to get touched. Ram, Nago, Happy Chaos being the three that I hear the most often as needing some adjustments that didn't get them.
I think what Arxis tried to do, and I commend them for this, it was a very delicate touch in the way that they balanced those three characters, was they tried to re-highlight and recontextualize the weaknesses of those characters. and de-emphasize certain parts of their game in favor of others. So like Nago's Beyblade change means that he has to take the risk with the blood gauge with the special move cancels off of Beyblade if he wants to make you respect that tool. The problem is they also buffed the follow-up to that and like made the DP, the second hit of the DP like a much better combo starter. And they did this in a couple of places. Same with Happy Chaos. I was like, all right, we made his zoning full screen weaker. We also made at the ready plus on block. So it re-shifts him into this mix monster that can also zone you. It's like, all right, guys, I get what you tried to do here. I think you underestimated how viable they already were to the point that very targeted changes only did so much.
And, well, good news. Boston meta is particularly lacking in Happy Chaos.
This is true.
To the rejoicement of many players,
yeah,
not a lot of gun lockdown.
No, not quite yet. I think one of the few is like, I know Kite, who is a very established Dragon Ball FighterZ player out of Connecticut, made top 8 at CEO just a few weeks ago. And he has been very hungry to sort of leave his stamp on Guilty Gear Strive, and he's been playing Happy Chaos.
That's exciting. I know Kenny was picking up Happy Chaos as a secondary for his Gold Lewis.
I don't like that choice for Kenny.
I don't either. Kenny is an oppression player. He likes to get up in there and enforce the game at his own pace.
Also, Kenny is belligerent.
Yes.
Kenny is an ox.
Yes.
Kenny is putting his head down and going forward. And by going forward, I mean he is hitting 2P no matter what you do. I think Happy Chaos has to have a different approach to defensive decision making than Gold Lewis can get away with.
Right.
But hey, maybe I'm just not giving Kenny proper credit. Maybe there is an evaluation to be made there of like, yeah, you can try out this different style and play this different character. But like with Happy Chaos, I associate it with like, Happy Chaos for me is the money backdash.
Right.
That's happy. If you're a good Happy Chaos player, you have psychic backdashes.
Well, it also helps. The kid's like, what, 12, 13?
Yeah.
Got plenty of time to develop into any kind of player he wants to be, plenty of time to pick up any character he wants to pick up. I don't know. Kenny excites me to see where he's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see someone at that age having the degree of proficiency and understanding, right? Like, I've talked to him about matchups, and he actually does do the work to try to figure this stuff out, because Maz is one of the only people that gets his number, and Nago, at least pre-patch, I don't know how he feels about it now. I imagine he feels bad about it now still. But Nago was one of the difficult matchups for Gold Lewis and Kenny.
Absolutely.
And you could act like he had done the work to be like, here's how and why, here's all the problems. It's like, okay. In a few years, you're going to be a monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we're still working on getting the bracket finalized with a few more people to sign up, but pretty soon it's looking like the line is dying down, so we're going to be starting in just a minute.
You know what's wild? I'm
sure
sure that line is going to blow up again, because so we've got 2 games running right now. We've got Strive should be starting any second with the 2 o'clock start, Tourney Standard Time. Welcome to the FGC.
These things happen.
It's all the traffic to the beach, right? Like it's a beautiful Saturday. Everybody's going down the Cape. That's just where we're at. But I know it's
Melty Blood is also going on.
Yep. But later on, immediately after this, on this stream, we have DNF Duel.
Yep.
Which I'm sure is going to bring a bunch of entrants as well.
Which, if you enjoy this broadcast, Brad will also be commentating, so stick around to make sure you can support him for that too.
And I believe on the other stream after Melty is going to be Dragon Ball?
I believe so.
And then the other stream has KOF to round out the day, and we have, obviously, the Boston Blue Beat. You know they're rounding it out with BlazBlue.
You gotta have it. So we have lots and lots of good games throughout the day, and plenty of times people don't show up until the bracket they want to enter is starting to happen. So this venue is going to get packed. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun.
Like, I've already seen tweets from some Connecticut Dragon Ball players that are like, don't worry, guys.
We got this.
I'll be there in an hour. It's like, all right, well, I know you're not playing Strive.
Yep.
But that's fine. A lot of them, I know Boston Blue Beat's been really championing BlazBlue CF.
Absolutely.
Even pre the rollback announcement, even pre the rollback patch, they've always been really championing this game at the local level. And I know they've made a lot of converts, like Connecticut Dragon Ball player slash FGC TikTok creator Floki is one of the people that I know is coming up. And it's like, oh, you're not going to be here for Strive. But I know he goes in on some BlazBlue.
Well, I mean, if you haven't heard, the local lore around Boston Bluebeat is that it was started by this guy, Fantas, great guy. The joke is that he only started this because he was just looking for more people to play BlazBlue with.
Yeah.
So, if it's going to be the focus from the start, it's going to be the focus going on. But you know what my focus is these days? Is Strive, because this game is really, really interesting after the patch.
Yeah, I've probably not spent as much time with it as I would have liked to. I'm really curious to see how a lot of these system mechanic changes panned out. The dash cancel ability on 5K and close slash has a lot of really interesting implications, and the counter hit changes on punch and kick normals also have really interesting changes. The thing about those is I tend to feel like those are changes that you need a little bit more time to see how the meta shakes out in response to them. It's not something that's apparent day one.
Yeah.
Maybe you go in the lab and you figure out, the first things you're going to do is you're going to figure out your character-specific changes, right? You're going to scroll right to where your character page was. You're going to be like, oh,
do these combos still work? What are my new optimals?
Right. Oh, I'm Zato. Oh, you changed the scaling on Eddy Drill? Cool. What does that look like? Oh, you changed the hit stun on both bits of Pierce? What is the significance of this? But eventually, you start to be like, okay, what does it mean for me to get counter hit slowdown on 2P? Like, what can I do with this?
There are implications from changes that are independent of context, and changes that need context in order for them to be relevant. The counter hit changes on things like 2P really need context, because that only matters in so much as there are gaps that you can challenge with your character's 2P.
Right.
If you got any frame data changes, if other characters introduced or removed gaps that you're used to from Season 1,
right, here's an example.
You have to relearn these things in order to make the change meaningful.
Yeah, and there's a great example of that. It's sort of this layer 2 adjustment, right? Of like, you get used to your character, you queue into Ram. What are you doing against Ram? Oh, they changed how long until the sword shows up when she throws the sword now. Huh. They made this gap wider, and they made changes wherein you mashing out 5P or 2P is getting you counter hit slowdown. You're like, I see. There's an intended design decision here where they want for us to use these tools in this context to challenge it in this way. And there were a few situations like that where you look through the patch notes and you're like, I see. Like, this fits in with this general design change. There was something about, I remember like Souls 2K pushed away more, but then his 2D was also like had its hitbox adjusted so that 2K's 2D still worked. But the point of it was like the normal was specifically challenged around the change to the counter hit slowdown. There were a bunch of things like that where you look and it's like, it's a weird change on its own, but when put into the context of the new system mechanics and the other balance changes, you're like, oh, okay, there's stuff here. We really just need to understand it.
One that I was thinking of actually earlier today. So whenever I get here, I like to wander around, watch the participants a little bit, get a feel for how the day's going to go down in the pit. One of the ones I was watching was there was an Eno player who I was really impressed with.
Okay.
Eno players, by and large, were not too thrilled with the changes.
Right.
But one of the things they did was make it so her ranged options, her note, her chemical love, things like that, were much better at enforcing a zoning game, which isn't obviously her primary plan by any means. But this player, who I don't actually know their name, was using specifically chemical love as a great way to challenge Testament's longer buttons. Testament has big range, but if you can get a read on their block strings, on their patterns they're going to go for, using chemical love's evasive properties, because it launches her into the air a little bit, gets you over grave digger.
It's like a diet high crush.
Exactly. And so a couple things like that were just really, really cool to me. And what's even cooler to me is that we are getting into game in just a moment here. And I am so excited to kick this off.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have ShadowKlone versus, I want to say that says Alsatian?
Alsatian? Maybe?
Alsatian.
Alsatian. We're getting confirmation.
Yep. Jacko versus Giovanna. So ShadowKlone, one of the more accomplished Jackos in the region. I think for last monthly, ShadowKlone got 3rd or 4th, if I recall correctly.
All right.
I think Gio absolutely has the mobility to try to explode through this matchup. A little bit more defensive of a round start, but not immediately getting over that JD. We talked about this a little bit before we were live, that Jacko sort of has those two mindsets, right? Once you're in the ability to start playing the minion game, you're a mix machine. But before that, you try to play a little bit more methodically and a little bit farther out. Getting absolutely bulldozed here. Are we going to see the hero burst? Nah, just break the wall. That should be perfect, right? Yes, it is.
What a way to kick off the bracket. Absolutely absolutely coming out swinging is Alsatian. I love the choice from ShadowKlone. Save the burst. Gonna need it next round. You're not really gonna get anything done using it this time. We're going right back to the corner here too. Shadow is in fact getting the guard out, setting up minions. All right, already back in the corner.
All right, we're going to get... No, we don't play for the wall break because we want to leave the minion set up. I actually like this choice here from ShadowKlone because it's really important. You know, if you've already got all that stuff set up, you don't want to surrender that choice. That's something we're seeing more as this game develops, is people being more deliberate about when and how they choose to break the wall.
Yeah, conscious decision-making there as opposed to autopiloting is really, really interesting as a development. Watching the investment of all of these minions come out, stay relevant instead of taking the wall break, really, really good way to stay mindful of what you're doing.
I think you're still alive even after this wall break.
That was a lot of scaling, a lot of hits there. No, you're dead. Guaranteed wall damage. ShadowKlone coming back with a perfect in response to round one. That's going to be 1-0 in ShadowKlone's favor. Good momentum coming out from Alsatian in the beginning. I like the look, but ShadowKlone adapting really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a reversal as Geo, really, so you just kind of need to weather the storm of this and do exactly like that. You've got some of the best dash cancel mobility in the game, so you can be really explosive from a really far range. Cashing out into that super real early, going to break this wall.
Really nice fundamentals, hit confirming off of just those 2 hits in the corner.
Oh, went for the cheeky flip kick, gimmicky mix-up there. Does not quite work out. We go for the side switch. Burst gets baited.
Hero is going to come through with the wall break. Just a sliver of health left. And I was like, no, the RC keeps the wall pressure. It says guaranteed damage enough. Just barely makes it happen on a sliver. ShadowKlone coming through in the clutch there.
All right, Altasian's gonna need to try to close this out, or, you know, restabilize. All right.
That's another thing we didn't talk about. FD does not consume as much meter usage now, so being able to use that without fear of consequence of burning through your entire meter all at once, really big deal in the Jacko matchup sometimes, depending on what pressure you're seeing. Getting that extra space gives you more room to breathe. Room to breathe is what you need against Jacko. But you only got one more chance here to find that room. Yellow RC making that room.
I don't know if I like that YRC choice there. I guess I get it if you just don't want to try to deal with the mix-up that might have been coming after, but I wonder whether you would have been better served with a blue RC backdrift at round start position. Right? Oh no, we went for the shimmy, and it worked, but Altasian didn't believe enough. Wasn't ready to capitalize on the whiff throw, and ShadowKlone closes out game 2. Altasian almost swung that back into their favor.
Just barely missing out. I really like the look on the shimmy. That's something that wasn't represented yet. We were seeing a lot of strike throw in the corner before, so going for the shimmy as a new representation is really meaningful. Ooh, gold burst. First one of the day. Doesn't amount to much yet. Super came out, but didn't buy any space out of the pressure.
Yeah, I like that Altasian responded to that super and saw that the minions weren't generating a real threat and just took the opportunity to stop the neck. Cashing out the other half of that bar that we got off that gold burst just on this overdrive there in the corner. Now we're getting the minions set up. Great anti-air. Are we going to... Yes, we do restore the corner position. Minions are out. Using the minion throw as like an air catch option, so it's harder for Altasian to try to jump out of the corner. We're going to have to weather that storm. No FD. We're being greedy with the meter. Nice 2P mash.
Ooh, that's not going to do it. Oh, the combo drops, though. Still in the corner. Still maintaining this pressure. FD is coming out. Doesn't quite get it. Can't block that every single time. One more round for ShadowKlone to move on through to the next round.
All right. Oh,
counter hit 2D. Ooh, not quite ready to make it happen.
I don't know that I've ever seen that normal used before.
Once or twice. Usually only as combo filler. All right, going to the left. Lots of counter hits. This Geo looking for those mash opportunities, not finding them too often.
Yep, and this is one of those changes. That flip kick, a pure mix-up tool now. No frame advantage off of that. We should be able to close this out. No, just barely alive. We weathered the storm a little bit, but no follow-up on the... Oh my god, just letting that DP rip. We got the throw game started.
Look at the meter usage. There it is, confirming into the super. This is a lot of damage, not very scaled, not quite enough. Magic Pixel versus Magic Pixel.
All right, ShadowKlone's for the blue RC. No, just gets thrown. I was ready for like blue RC backdrift or something. You want to save that position for yourself, but you don't get to take that meter with you. I do like that we didn't see anything of a hero burst. We can still try to close this out, catching in the corner. You have to weather the storm of these minions now. I give you one, I give you two.
Each of these players are going to have burst at some point. ShadowKlone spending that to keep the corner.
Oh my god, that hitbox 6P. Okay, wake up mash. We don't get anything off of it even with that counter hit slowdown, but it's okay. Backing off. You can see Alsatian is getting a little bit more comfortable with how far out to be. There's the burst. Not a hero burst this time.
Waits for the shield. 2D connects once again. That button has been so important all game long. Alsatian, though, is getting momentum going here. FD trying to keep it safe. The counter hit on the kick, though. Set up. Not quite able to get all the minions needed. Minion meter has enough for one, almost two. Corner pressure is still coming through, looking for throws. Nope, goes low.
Oh,
There's
frame
the
traps.
throw.
You had just called it too. You said looking for throw, but you could see Alsatian was being so defensive there, so passively defensive, not even FDing. Didn't have a lot of bar to spend and really wanted to hang on to it, especially, you know, if you build that bar enough, you find that YRC, you reset back to neutral. And neutral hadn't been going awfully for Alsatian. They were finding those spots. I think one thing that was proving really difficult was those shields.
Yes.
The minion shields were making it that much harder. When the minions were in front, Alsatian had to second guess their approach. We saw no spiral arrow, and some of these, you know, dash in far slash was just getting smoked by the shield immediately. So once the minions were set up, it was that much harder, even passively, for Alsatian to advance and try to make that happen.
It was kind of cool. You could see the layers developing between these two, specifically around the minion setup minigame.
Yeah.
ShadowKlone started off with very simple, get a hard knockdown, throw my minions at you, see how you react, start my pressure.
Yeah.
Alsatian did something really cool, start off, see that that's happening. Okay, as long as there isn't one in front of me, I get to dash in for free. That means I get to escape your setup and try and challenge your pressure.
Right.
Now, the challenge may or may not win, but it's that recognition of there isn't anything in front of me. The setup I can dash through before it's actually established and get something going. The response from ShadowKlone was go for that and immediately air dash after setting up the clone from the air. So there was layers on layers being built up between these two that it was really, really fun to watch that I don't think I would have been able to pick up on in-game. But thankfully, there is something that can help me pick up on these skills in-game if I find them lacking. One of our partners for today is Metafy, Brad. Where can I find out more information about Metafy? What are they about?
Well, Metafy is a one-on-one coaching platform. I actually know a couple of people that offer coaching on there. I know it's not just for players. I believe Monkey Business, a friend of the region, does commentary coaching. Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Barlow do coaching on there as well?
I believe so.
Yeah, so plenty of opportunities to go and get coaching from players or other just knowledgeable people who are going to be able to help you to identify and fill in these gaps in your play. And I know if you use the code BEACH10 on Metafy in partnership here with Boston Blue Beat's Beach episode, you get 10% off of your first lesson with one of their talented staff. And I know they're talented because I'm friends with some of these people, and they better be talented or I wouldn't be friends with them.
Yeah, that is the code BEACH10, all caps 10, numbers 10. You can put that in, 10% off for your first lesson on Metafy. And, you know, if you want to support in another way, as always, we do have a Matcherino running. For those who haven't heard of this, you know, it's the first time of the day. Maybe you're not quite familiar with it yet. Matcherino is a platform where you can log in and donate a little bit to the prize pool. This is one of those ways you can support your local scene, support your tournament organizers, support your local players by making that prize pool just that little bit sweeter.
Yeah, it's super easy. It could not be easier. In fact, they even removed the coupon code part.
They actively made it easier.
Back in the day, you used to have to copy a code from the chat. Not anymore, they said. They said, we had 50 codes. Let's cut the middleman. Hit that claim code button once you sign in with your Twitter account, Twitch account, Gmail. Take your pick. There's an account. You don't need to make one yourself.
Nope.
That it's there are accounts that it's integrated with. Claim the code. And hey, the sponsor quests aren't hard to do either. And those have an even fatter contribution to that prize pool. And those usually range from as simple as, you know, following a promoted Twitter account or, you know, watching an ad or something like that. And those can throw anywhere up to, you know, a few dollars into the prize pool if you do the sponsor quests. So if you have a little bit of time and you are feeling generous and you want to show support for all of these players that came through, you can definitely go and show some love there. Just like we're going to show love to the next players sitting down. I called him out a little bit earlier. Player 2 side, it looks to be Dormancy 207, my Casa brother, down from Maine. Opposite, Uber sitting down on the player 1 side.
think that was Jacko versus Nagori Yuki. Yep, there it is. A lot of Jacko today. A friend of mine, Battenjan, is, I think, also on Jacko still. I heard he was messing with Testament for a bit, but I think he's back on Jacko when he's taking things more seriously. Minion setup going well already. Burst expended. Burst and YRC. Two of those tools that do help you get rid of those minions. Big counter hit coming through for the Nago. Does mean Burst has to be expended back. You know what? Raw Super Confirm is going to do a lot of damage, but already highly scaled. Going low off the jump in. 2P does challenge the minion setup. Big combo, that's so much height. Confirm into anything you want. Goes straight into super. Is this going to be enough? Probably not quite.
No, it wasn't even close enough to break the wall. So Dormancy's going to get one more shot using that JD to try to earn a little bit of space. Wow. That extended range on the 2S because of the blood gauge, clipping at the very tip there for that first round.
You know, one of the things actually that we didn't even talk about in the last round, one of the most significant changes to Jacko in Season 2, the minion meter starts full.
Yes.
You don't need to build that meter to get your setups, get your mixes. You get it at the beginning of the round, which is pivotally important to keep track of in this matchup. And any matchup, really. It's Jacko's core mechanic, right?
Well, so here's the problem with all of this, though, is that Uber is playing so intense, so aggressive, just completely covering the screen with limbs, and there's very little space where it seems as though Dormancy is able to actually get the game started. Finally has this advantageous corner position. Uber stuck at tier 0 blood. Calling out the homies, 2D counter hit. Are we going to see a burst come out? No, wisely Uber saves the burst for the next round.
Turbocharging the minions, getting those homies some overtime. Breaks that wall, gets that kill. We got an even round so far. JD coming out just a little bit, not something we saw too much in the last game.
Ooh. Okay, we meet Burst with Burst. That was a very early burst from Uber, but he didn't want to have to deal with the problematic situation of Jacko getting started. I like meeting that burst, though, from Dormancy, and now we're back in the side anyway. Placing those 6Ps very well is Uber, and we're in that tier 3 blood still. All right, I like placing that 5K, sniping out some of the minions.
I appreciate the patience from Nago, sitting right on top of a minion. No, it's not necessarily safe to approach all willy-nilly. Take your time, work your way in. Reversal super is not going to catch. It's just a little bit too far out. But there wasn't enough setup, not in range to make things happen. Was that minion? But the JD spacing out, keeping that distance. Nago is very difficult to keep distance on between Fukio and Beyblade. A lot of mobility if you have the blood to spare. Getting his base placement just right means Dormancy brings out the first round.
Yeah, I like Dormancy commits to the 2K 2D. A lot of mileage out of these 2Ds so far from Dormancy, and I like that he keeps using this JD very effectively as his zoning tool, but sniped by that 2H. We're a little bit too far away for the full Rekka chain, though, and it actually costs Uber critically here. Gets the fake cross up. Minion is set up.
Get back in the corner. Whirlwind kicks. Another very good round from Dormancy.
Yeah, and that whirlwind kick hit from this really far range. You can see that Dormancy is actually making adjustments to where and how he's counterpoking, specifically to try to blow up how actively Uber is playing.
Ooh, I like the 6P to challenge the setup. Dormancy was going for jump in, place down a minion, and then start your pressure. Didn't get the timing right, means there was a way to challenge there. Back in the corner, again, going for the 2H, didn't quite have enough room.
Yep, no burst will reset back to neutral. 2S right around start, burning out that Beyblade. We're at tier 3 blood. We're trying to finish the issue. I love meeting the red RC with a YRC from Dormancy. The burst comes out, but we're still going to get clipped by the 2D. Oh, the 2H counter hit! Look at that damage!
Nago just needs one hit. Just needs one chance to turn the tides, ride that blood into victory.
That 6H did a whole ass chunk.
Yes it did. We're back in the corner again already.
Oh!
Ooh! Whiffs the 2H. Dormancy finds the opportunity. Uber was going for swings anyway. Didn't work out for him. Counter hit on the jump in too.
Right, blocks the overhead. That 2H keeps being the choice that Uber is contending with. They did nerf that 2H, changed how far away you need to be. It has less of a, the hitbox changed on it, but Uber doesn't seem to care, keeps placing it. Finding that 5P anti-air here was Dormancy, really pressing the issue. Backdash into 5K.
Okay, we saw some new things there. These two are swinging. Counter hits are coming out, and the conversions from Uber are a little cleaner in that game than they were in the win before. Looking to see if that happens. That hitbox is so active. Dormancy gets a chance if you don't time that right, but we're getting the corner pressure once again. Haven't seen the command throws coming out of Uber yet so far. It's been pretty much just strike mix-ups. Haven't seen the strike throw coming out. Reversal, I think, is going to hit. It does.
So there's a reason we've not seen command throw, and it's because Uber has barely had any blood management issues.
Yes.
It's living in tier 3 so much, and Uber's combo choices are overwhelmingly tending towards there's a lot of 6H and a lot of just finishing the Rekka chain.
Yes. Yeah. Anyone doesn't know, the slash buttons do reduce the blood gauge for Nago, so if you decide to route into those buttons, you can manage your blood that way, not having to go into the command throw. Set up here for Jacko once again, going for the install. Pressure is insane as always. FD coming through, still plenty of meter to use, but does get clipped. Has the meter for the wall break super. I think this should be dead.
Yeah, look how little life he has.
There it is, doesn't even need the wall break. Every time that super comes out, I am shocked by how much damage it pumps out.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow, really, really churning that blood off rip there was Uber. Finding that 6P, getting the starter, but these max range low pokes here from Dormancy really starting to play active from a much different range. And look at how difficult it's been for Uber to try to get something started. Dropping the minion, baiting the 6P with the minion drop. Oh no, that burst actually side swaps, has to burn the YRC, but the counter poke into the reversal super, Uber is playing so belligerent.
Going to be so much damage. Raw super can get a lot done, and you're going to have the positive bonus advantageous situation on the reset. Go in. Ooh. Reversal Halcyon driver. That's going to be, is that enough?
Of course it is. I love that. Uber got a little bit belligerent, but here, Dormancy had to give him a lift.
You want to reverse me? Reverse you right back. Uno reverse.
Uh-oh. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, no one ever is.
No one ever is.
You know what I'm ready for?
What are you ready for?
The next round?
Yeah. Dormancy, I believe this is 2-1 now. Dormancy versus Uber.
The jump in, getting counted out by the 6P pretty reliably so far for Uber. Good looking out there. Knockdown. Challenges on the throw. Didn't quite get the meaty timing.
Oh, that's a very delayed 6P there. I wonder what the call out was. That's in a range where you can absolutely get away with close slash. I think maybe Uber was expecting a backdash or something. It was
there it is.
Chase it down. There's the throw.
Haven't seen it so far. Hasn't been represented. Not something on Dormancy's map so far. Means you can throw it in here pretty reliably. Expect it to convert. Dormancy's getting a little brave on the jump-ins lately. These setups are going for left-rights, but not getting the timing quite right means Uber has had a lot of opportunity to 6P out of the air, challenge and make sure you get yourself out of sticky situations, which is an adaptation. The couple of games in the beginning, the left-rights were getting a lot of mileage for Dormancy. Nice to see.
Oh my god.
That's dead. You are so very, very dead. That looks like 2-2. It's in my books. Sure does.
Uber is so unafraid to let that rip. And Dormancy has not demonstrated an answer to how aggressive on all ends of the spectrum, right? Nothing. Uber is uber aggressive.
Yes.
I don't feel like there has been anything that has really given him pause.
No. I'm appreciating the 2D Jacko low profiling a lot so far. There are a lot of buttons for Nago that you can low profile if you get the timing right. A lot that you can't. You get absolutely blown up if you get it wrong. But doing it carefully means you can get a lot of mileage out of trying to sneak in through those buttons. Like we saw here, that whole pressure sequence was predicated on being able to get in off of that sort of sneaking in.
I mean, that's why 2S is such an important button for Nago.
Absolutely.
Because especially as you get to those higher tiers of blood, it really supplements his pokes with and covers the low profile ability. As he gets in those higher tiers of blood, it's that much harder to deal with. But Dormancy did a great job, like you said, of establishing that tool early, and now it's set point for Dormancy.
Okay, but we got a shot here for Uber. Already in the corner. Got the strikes coming through. 2P mash. We talked about that earlier. Counter hit on the 2P mash means it's your turn. Didn't see a whole lot of conversion there, but got the space, which means all of this is just off of 2P mashing. Back to neutral now. Beyblade in. Doesn't get the OTG. Not quite in
stuck
range.
In the corner. Finds the cross up. Has the meter for the red RC follow-up, but we don't get the combo. Wake up. Back throw from Uber. Close slash into the 5D. Had the check on the 5D. Tick. And now it's true final round.
Just one more shot apiece. We're going to have a burst each.
Ooh.
DP round start, such a
Clean
strong
45% off rip, and we're right at tier 3 blood. But wait, is it gonna pop?
duo. We're looking for it.
Oh my god,
He's
so
teetering
close.
Right on that edge. Burst comes through. Hasn't
But look,
built up for
Dormancy
Jacko
can
yet.
actually play hella aggro now because we can't see Fukio or Beyblade or it'll make it pop. This is actually, Dormancy is in such a fantastic position as long as you follow up on this. Oh, the only way that Uber can play is advancing through the air.
One Fukio is safe. Beyblade coming through. Looking for the pop. for the
YRC, you know it was going to be command grab.
There it is!
Finish the job! Oh!
The soccer ball minion punishing the Blood Rage pop. Just barely didn't manage it correctly. Means Dormancy takes it in a nail biter of a set.
Ooh. The second we saw that first Fukio, it was like, you're playing a dangerous game,
Because he
Uber.
had to be looking for command throw. That's the only way to
Yeah.
manage blood building that quickly.
That YRC there, that Dormancy did, won the set.
Absolutely.
Because without that YRC, you're dealing with that mix. Now, granted, you know, could you have just backdashed if you really believed in the command grab? Maybe. But you don't want to do it with the mix because it's a one-touch game either way. But you force it back to neutral, back to a spot where suddenly Uber has to either Fukio Beyblade or just jump in again when it had been so difficult to manage. That man was right there.
The
It was
YRC,
in his hand. So of course he was going to go aggro.
of course. When you're that close, you can taste the blood in the air. You can smell it. You smell that game. You want to win that game. But you know what? YRC beat out most options in that situation.
Yeah.
So playing the odds, YRC means more often than not going to end up in an advantageous position. And we already saw the blood meter was building up. Playing the odds once again. And Jacko, one of the characters who is most capable of punishing blood pops at any range.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I had even like momentarily forgot that because I was like, oh no, he's not dashing in. Like, is he gonna be able to capitalize on this? I was like, had the minion and the full minion gauge in order to follow up on stuff. I was like, all right, cool. You are, like you just said, you are one of the only ones that can make this happen.
uniquely positioned.
Oof. Wow, what a set. Only our second match of the day.
Already kicking off with a bang. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan. Big fan.
We have Levity versus AggroCraig sitting down for the next one, loading in Leo Whitefang versus Faust.
I think I saw these two warming up earlier in the day too. Didn't really note anything in specific between the two of them, except I did note the matchup specifically is really interesting now that Faust got a lot of love and Leo got a lot of hits in the patch notes. So I'm really interested to see how the relative strength of these two works out now that they're compared to each other.
I think Leo's nerfs are overrated.
I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah, I think rumors of Leo's demise are greatly exaggerated. I think he's completely fine. Oh wow, wait a minute. He got the trumpet in the middle of that too. Full charge 5D, you're dead.
Gotta make sure you land this. Doesn't quite
okay.
get it. PRC off of the charge. Gets the mix through 2K. That button is so quick in back turn. So hard. You have to raw guess most of the time.
Yeah. That was a 5K check at round start there from AggroCraig.
Spends the burst. Ooh. We did see the fireball coming out pretty frequently in round one. The command throw, really good way to challenge that if you're going for the heavy fireball, because it's just got that little bit less startup, means you can get in there pretty free. Tornado, RC doesn't convert. Overhead,
Ooh.
RC converts. Doesn't go all the way.
Really using that tool a lot. Smart backdash there from Levity. Earns this corner position here. Oh, going for that tick throw game a lot more. Oh, there's those 2K ticks. Oh, wants to keep the corner position, it looks like? No.
Leo wall slump. I haven't seen that before. It makes a lot of sense. If you get the wall splat with a grounded button while they're still not launched into the air, that means you get the wall slump instead of the opportunity to jump off the wall. Going 2K, 2K, 2K for the wall slump reset means you get to keep the corner pressure, try and convert into a little more damage. Didn't quite work out that time, but you know what? I like the look. All right, corner pressure, getting those fireballs meaty. All right, lots of meter here.
Oh my word. That had to have been a whiffed flash kick, right?
You know, that's a Boston reset.
There we go.
These things happen some days. Meter expenditure. One more touch, all he needs. There it is. Round one going in their favor. I didn't see a lot of item usage there for the Faust. Kind of hard to keep enough space to get those set up against Leo.
Yeah.
Very quick move speed on that dash. Lots of safety in the DP, and the Fireball means it's hard to make sure you have time to light that. Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only ones we did see, I mean, look at that. The trumpet landed right on him. I think the difficulty is you have to make very specific decisions as Faust to, you know, choose to stick out the item, and you want to try to minimize the risk when you do so. And it's just so difficult to find that opportunity in this matchup. And Levity is, you know, doing a great job on top of that of really staying the aggressor and not giving AggroCraig a whole lot of opportunity to be defensive Craig.
So I really also appreciate Levity's 6P usage. 6P does have that upper body vulnerability, means it's a good tool to challenge jump-ins, but also good tool to challenge long buttons that are attached to hurt boxes. Now, Faust's Scalpel, oftentimes, if it has a disjoint, it's not thorough, right? There are areas of the Scalpel where you can hit back and get some damage back. 6P is a great way to challenge Faust's range.
Okay, we're swinging back the Fireball. Are we going to find the Just Frame this time? No, but we have the Red RC to follow up. Doing a little bit of damage. Here is AggroCraig. That's probably one of the stronger sequences you've had, but it's so unfortunate. Every single time the trumpet comes out, Levity is in the perfect position to ensure that they capture it themselves. Even there, covering the approach for the trumpet with the Fireball PRC, I swear every item throw is actually doing more for Levity than it is for AggroCraig.
Fireball PRC is such a good tool to say, all right, my turn, I'm getting in now, you have to hold this, GG, shake my hand. Little homie coming through, a little bit of space for Faust. AggroCraig getting something going here. No, does get challenged. Leo does have great buttons. There we can see that hurt box coming into effect once again.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more representation of the Scalpel like you had called out, but we're already seeing the differences here represented from Levity. In the face of him, going to be able to close out the round on the whiffed reversal overdrive. Did not work out. And if I'm not mistaken, this is now set point for Levity.
That it is. One more round. Moving on. JP is getting some good mashing. Quasi tick throw coming through overhead, not quite landing, but the guard crush keeps the pressure going. It's a bomb. That's new. Not a trumpet, thankfully.
All right, finds the regular throw in the middle of the respect for the bomb. Backdash through the command grab. We saw that in the first game as well. AggroCraig has just not had any opportunity to get anything started, and our second king takes first place in this particular set. Not the whole tournament. What was it?
You're dead, kid.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah. Quick 3-0 after two kind of nail-biter sets so far. I am actually very impressed with the way Levity pulled that out. 6P usage was really impressive to me, managing to... Look, man, Leo's that belligerent gorilla character, and nothing about the Season 2 changes changed the core of the character.
Right.
Gorilla's gonna ape in with my PRC behind my Fireball. It's really hard to fight a Leo who's really playing hot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's it strikes me as a matchup that is probably always going to be difficult for Faust. Even just like think about one thing, right? Like you wanna throw out items. Maybe you throw the bag from the air and you really want to try to cover the screen, but the horizontal strength of the hitbox of Leo's DP makes it so hard to get him to respect you doing anything that isn't real. If Leo has down charge, I feel like there's nothing stopping Leo, who is charging, from seeing you throwing an item and then just going, mine, and hitting the button. Perhaps on whatever their preferred controller is. Maybe a Junkbox arcade controller, who were kind enough to sponsor this event as well.
That is true.
Shout outs to Junkbox Arcade.
Yeah, heard you got your hands on them over at a major the other day.
I was unfortunately not able to procure one of my own because there was much demand, but I sincerely did really appreciate that controller. I wasn't sold on keyboard style switches until I tried those ones, and it was like, oh, I think the only adjustment was currently I play a actual hitbox, like a
hitbox brand.
Yes, hitbox branded leverless controller, and I think the big change was on the sort of traditional hitbox arcade controller. They use a lot of the 22mm buttons.
Yep.
And I know on the newer leverless controllers, the sizes of the buttons are a little bit different.
Yes.
Because they're not using arcade buttons. Mm-hmm. That takes a slight adjustment to get used to, but I found it quite comfortable.
Yeah. You know what else is comfortable? Being properly caffeinated. So thank you to Red Bull for helping us out today too. Much appreciated. One of those long-standing partners of Boston Bluebeat, and we always very thankful for their encouragement. I think, if I remember correctly,
it looks like we have more people sitting down. I'm trying to get a sense of who's about to sit down. This bracket is going forward. I think winner's quarter means those are top 16 matches. Wow, we still have so much of this bracket to go.
You know, it feels really good to see Boston come out in force for the beach episode. I know Boston Bluebeat was really, really trying to throw their weight behind this event. Okay, if you never TO'd before, some events you throw because, you want to see the homies, have a good time, maybe toss them a little bit of prize money. Some events you want to be an event. And today is an event. Beach episode has been in the works for a long time, one that we've really been trying to make happen. And you know what? Boston came out in force, making it happen indeed. It's a good day here.
I see someone asks if it's true that Boston has the worst Milia player in the U.S. I'm happy to pick Milia at character select. I could be the worst Milia in the U.S.
We got both of them. Easy.
I don't know who you're referring to, but I will. I'm more than happy to. If this is something that you need from us, I will provide this for you.
He's just that kind.
I'm just that kind of guy. We have, I'm not positive who is sitting on right now, but the matchup looks like it's going to be Faust once again on the player 2 side, a Testament on the player 1 side.
Now this is an interesting matchup. Both characters known for large buttons, a lot of space control, a lot of pseudo zoning, not the traditional Axel or Happy Chaos style zoning, but zoning more in that like the mid-range 2/3 of the screen as opposed to full screen. So I'm curious to see who's going to be able to enforce that spacing more positively. I do sort of like Testament in the matchup, given that Gravedigger, that fireball, makes it a little easier to be consistent with your pressure as opposed to Faust having to go for an item toss.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is I feel like if they have
real quick, letting the introductions play like classy Bostonians that we are.
Yeah. I love the intros in this game. It does look like we are getting Oberon versus Pilot. Oberon on the player 1 side. Yeah, so what I was going to say is I think in the matchup, if we try to establish that they have a similar game plan, I think Testaments is probably more consistent because you don't have to rely on the RNG. Here's the flip side of that, though, is Faust can, without setup, Faust can generate threat from a much farther range than Testament can. Testament's game really opens up once you get into that sequence of the Stain application versus Gravedigger setup that we're now getting into, although we're going to break wall with Overdrive here. Oh, no, we're not.
Quite. Does reapply Stain, however. Keep that pressure going in the corner.
I wonder if that was a decision. Was it a drop or was that a pressure decision? Because I know people like to use that as a pressure tool.
I watch enough Romola to know that super is sometimes just kind of inconsistent. These things happen.
Valid.
But you know what? Getting the pressure is still really good. Stain is...
Oof.
Ooh. Okay, I was going to say Stain, very pivotal to Testament's game plan, but even more impressive is the teleport PRC is basically unreactable for Faust. You have to go for a hard read.
It's funny, they made the changes to teleport, and I didn't really evaluate them that much until we started seeing the combination of teleport with fast PRC.
Yes.
And it was suddenly like, oh, they actually just gave him an unseeable full screen 50-50.
Actually, I can't believe we didn't talk about that at all, is the changes to RC. If you use a fast RC, you use significantly less meter than a full half-bar expenditure, and it has the benefit of not having as much scaling on your combos anyway, so now fast RCs are the preferable way to extend your combos if you can.
Oh, that's going to be punishable, but it wasn't punished. Upwards, Gravedigger works as a pseudo anti-air, and Oberon gets around on the board for themselves now. One thing, Oberon is defaulting a lot to 5K as sort of the de facto poke in a lot of these spots, and I like it in general. I think Testament's 5K is fantastic. It might be my favorite 5K in the game. And with the counter hit changes and the dash cancel ability changes, I'm sure there's like dash cancel buffers being thrown behind it, but it's happening at ranges where I wish we were getting far slash. There we are.
There you go. Representing that far slash is important. Clash goes in the favor of Pilot. Command throw comes out, applying that hairstyle. Ooh, counter hit didn't actually confirm. Gets a knockdown on that mash. Reversal is not blocked. Uses the last half of that bar. Another expenditure for a fast RC. Leaves no room to burst. Oberon taking round 1. I think we saw a lot of interesting kind of emblematic things of this matchup. The fireball was in fact pretty important, and the fact that you can follow it up with that stain state so consistently against Faust when they also want to be at that range makes it really hard for Faust to get anything going. Big counter hit on the 5H. Already had a lot of wall damage though, means the wall does get popped. No ability to use the super counter hit with the overhead, carrying all the way to the wall with these.
Yeah, one of the values of that tool so far in this matchup is that it's also serving as an anti-air. Oh, speaking of anti-airs, reversal overdrive with the EXE Beast serving as an anti-air there for Oberon to smoke out Pilot for trying to get a little bit too aggressive with their approach.
I do like the reversal super callouts in either shorter sets or earlier on in the set. You know, once or twice, check to make sure they're going to be using their safe jumps, see what their setups are going to be, and if they're doing things that are not quite safe, throw it out until they prove they know how to deal with it. Trumpet coming through, betrayal for Faust, little homies not on the side of their collar.
I liked another choice there. Oberon is still cycling that upwards EXE Beast, or upwards Gravedigger a lot. There's that unseeable nonsense again. We're popping the Afro. Oh, wow. Finding the back throw there actually does Oberon. Sneaking in these back throws in a lot of these situations, and now we have this strong corner position, plenty of meter.
Shimmy!
Yes,
RC.
please. Thank you, finish the job.
Very, very solid play there. I really like the throw bait. We saw that Pilot was kind of fond of throws there for just a little bit of the mid-screen. And so when you're applying that pressure in the corner, throw is one of the fastest ways to try and challenge. So playing around that makes a lot of sense, especially because Faust buttons up in close range, not always the most threatening, so playing around the threatening option seems just fine.
Oh, wow, actually managed to use non-PRC teleport with the meteors coming down to make a mix-up, gets the wall break off of the extension from that sequence.
PRC a little late.
Yeah, 6P trades, but one thing that Pilot is doing is every 6P is being followed up by mix, so Oberon didn't commit to something that would challenge mix after, got smoked out with the tornado, making that scalpel whiff. Trying to play a little bit more far out and deliberate here is Oberon getting in behind that stain, or that 6P works out for them. There's that defensive back throw again. Pilot has not established that they can properly meaty Oberon.
That is true. It's been a lot of long-range knockdowns, and getting into range to establish that meaty has been difficult for Pilot. Throw out those items, see what's going to happen.
Oh, the trumpet is out. This is a great sequence here from Pilot. Reversal EXE Beast, we don't even care about. Oh, we almost, imagine if we got a combo off of that.
That was so close.
That was almost a combo video moment.
Oh my gosh, will it kill indeed. All right, we got some weight coming through. Defensive throw again. It's getting so much work done for Oberon, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta teleport on him.
Sometimes you just gotta game on the board here for Pilot.
All right, signs of life, we like to see that. Need to see a way to deal with these defensive throws. Either not put yourself in situations where they're advantageous, or put yourself in situations where you just execute properly.
Right, I think the difficulty is, you know, if you trust in your neutral, you could just back off a little bit more and try to generate threat from farther away. Okay, Gold RC right into hella items, but which one? Okay, he did manage to get his own trumpet, but can't keep this corner position. Can't do anything, it seems, to keep Oberon locked down. And off of all of this, Oberon still has the life lead. Oh no, the PRC teleport actually whiffed because Testament had too much momentum off the dash.
Win for the command throw and is just slightly out of range. Oberon is getting a lot of use out of these 6Ps and out of this aerial momentum. Applying the stain, gets into position for one more round to take the set for Oberon. Okay, good block in the air. Stain's applied. Oberon is really happy to jump, not seeing a whole lot of anti-air capabilities so far.
Yeah, what a great burst. There's the heavy Gravedigger to keep them locked down in the corner. Now we've got this sequence. We're going to be able to break the wall with this overdrive.
This does reapply stain when the reset happens. Means it is advantageous for Oberon, even more so. Easy ways to convert off of stain. Not happening yet, though. That landed. I'm surprised. I actually thought that was going to be a little late, but you know what? Wall break, get that meter usage.
I think that's the worst super in the game.
It's up there.
I've seen that literally in the corner not connect, but what did connect was yet another defensive back throw from Oberon, putting the final nail in the coffin of the set, which is that Pilot could not do anything to stop Oberon from getting these defensive throws out. There was simply not an answer. Just kept waking up, mashing 4D, and it worked.
Look, if it works, why would you stop?
You wouldn't.
You represent a threat until it's been adapted to, and then you adapt in response. If there's no adaptation, then there's no need to change up what you're threatening with.
Right. And I think it's one thing if you can't, like if you just aren't comfortable with the meaty timing, right?
Right.
Like, or all right, whatever. It's not a game like other titles, you know, you can find frame kills. You can find explicit sequences that mathematically are going to generate meaties every time. They don't really have that in this game. You just kind of need to know the timing. If you don't, just back off.
Yeah, there's ways
Just
to play
back
around
off.
that.
Generate a threat with like Far Slash. You don't need to run in and, you know, do something.
Yep.
But stop doing the thing that isn't working.
Like, if you're playing casuals, do it until the cows come
Yeah.
home. Work on your gameplay. That's exactly the right thing to do. Is if something isn't working out, you're playing outside of bracket, you just want to see if you can get that improvement going, get that practice in. Yeah, keep going for those meaties, man. Get that timing down, get it in your bones. When you're in bracket, you do the thing that works.
Right.
And it turns out the thing that worked today was back row rather.
Yep.
You know what else works actually pretty well is SNK. Their game, King of Fighters, came out relatively frequently. Been in the rotation at Boston Blue Beat events recently.
Yep.
Very generously helping out with the event today. So many thanks to SNK for sponsoring the event today as well.
As we said earlier, I do believe their event closes out the other stream that is happening today. So if you follow Boston Blue Beat on Twitter, which I'm sure you already do if you're watching this, but hey, if you don't, go follow Boston Blue Beat so you know all the things that are happening. But the up-to-date schedule with everything, all of the links, all of the Match Reno links, critically, all going to be there. You'll find all of that information on Twitter, so make sure you tune in on that.
So you know what else you can find on Twitter for Boston Blue Beat?
What else
is the fact that we are bringing back our online weeklies. Now, anyone who's been around for Boston Blue Beat for a while knows that our weeklies used to be going for a good long while. We're bringing them back for BBCF, playing it as a Ranbat. If you don't know what that is, means you, pick a random character and then get to start going to town and running over a course of a couple weeks, going from the 15th of August all the way through October 3rd. And that will culminate in an invitational 15th of October for whoever's done the best throughout those weeks. If you feel like flexing your BBCF skills, check out Boston Blue Beat, going back to weeklies online.
I don't think that's what Ranbat means.
Nope, it isn't. Please correct me. I said that, and I was like, I hope he cuts in here.
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
Ranbat just means it's ranked tournaments.
Yeah,
you get points every week. You don't have to use a random character, but if you do, I will personally see to it that you get bonus points for your performance if you run random for the whole tournament. I will talk to Spencer today. I will get off of this mic on the ad break and let him know we are opting in for our next match. It looks like this is going to be Gorgovitch versus supremehonkifex.
Supreme Homie is the Eno I was watching earlier. They were incredibly impressive to me. Their ability to apply their Oki pressure, going for multiple wall slump combos over and over. I really, really liked Homie's gameplay. As you can see already, getting that super perfect, coming out swinging game one, which is impressive. Gorgovitch, not a slouch by any means.
No, not at all. I can't help but feel like, so the de-emphasis of heavy stroke is something that I imagined it was going to take a while for Enos to come to terms with. Yes. The fact that Supreme Homie is still using heavy stroke, but it's not a party starter. It's being used for its low profile properties to deal with Testament's usually standing limb-centric poke game.
Yes, this is actually the exact matchup I saw Homie warming up in earlier today, where he was using the stroke specifically as an answer to the tall fireballs.
Interesting.
They low profile the tall Gravedigger, which means if you have a read on what's going to come out, you can pretty easily get in for free. That said, 6P is still a beast of a button, especially against a character like Eno, who loves to approach from the air. Gorgovitch getting that pressure going for himself already. Big buttons coming through too. Reapply Stain. There it is. This is just another way to reapply Stain. This button is egregiously plus. It's something like plus 40, I think.
Oh my god. Wait a minute. So that full charge 5D ends up plus because the Stain pops after the 5D, so you block the overhead and it's still a mix?
Yep.
That's dope!
Testament is eating in Season 2.
If I find the time to return to this game, I have to play Testament. Also, I think Testament's design in this game is actually just one of the dopest redesigns.
They are an incredible character from an aesthetic perspective, and in Season 2 from a gameplay perspective as well.
That lockdown was absolutely insane. And you thought you were out, you get pulled back in. There's that fantastic 5K trying to get stuff started again. There's that 6P that you were just speaking to.
There it is. There's that high-profile Fireball getting countered by the heavy stroke. However, spacing in Gorgovitch's favor.
Oh,
no! Guilty Gear is an unfaithful game sometimes. PRC in.
Okay, a little bit too far away, but we're keeping this corner locked down here. Does Gorgovitch, and we're actually going to be able to close out that round off of these. The way that Gorgovitch is using these extended pokes and has sort of found that rhythm of like being able to reapply Stain and use Stain to keep lockdown going is, I mean, I feel like it's where the character was always going to end up being, oh, you thought you were out? No, there's that 6P. Every one of these Stain hits is, Gorgovitch is very intelligently like, I'm popping Stain, I'm going for a mix, I get something after.
And then I'm routing into reapplying Stain.
Oh wow, we got a charge on that Gravedigger there. A lot of respect coming out from Supreme Homie right now.
Cutting our block string short, making sure we can reapply pressure when we can. That's another one I was seeing earlier, that Chemical Love can go over the lower profile Gravedigger, so you can get a counter poke and then dash in over it. But Gorgovitch's spacing has been so good this set. All of these tools that I saw Supreme Homie flexing earlier in the day, not happening this time, strictly because Gorgovitch is bidding to stay outside of the threat range of everything Eno can threaten back with. That said, getting back in the corner, this is where Eno thrives. Ooh, 6P makes that a little easier to deal with, though, because that button is absurdly good.
Right, using the teleport rather than trying to apply Stain from the Succubus. And just like that, we got out of the corner. I love the way that Gorgovitch has turned the sequence around off of a really problematic beginning. Wow, the air-to-air jump slash with the Stain actually means it's like a Dragon Ball Fighter style air-to-ground sequence. We're going to be able to close out here with the Succubuses. And that's, oh my god, we're on the verge of a clean 3-0.
Yes, and hit confirming off of Stain makes everything so easy for Testament. You get to see the pop animation come through, get plenty of time, confirm into your super, get your wall break, get your win, get yourself one more round, and you go into the next round.
Ooh!
Teleport evasion means Gorgovitch gets the super. Is this going to land? This button's unfaithful. Yes, it is. Wall break. Whew. Positive bonus already coming through.
Right, blue RC, but there was already an active close slash into H. Gravedigger. Went for a challenge on the burst, but didn't actually get the air block. That works as a command grab.
Ooh, this is going to be a whole lot of damage. This is not scaled. Is this going to meet up with a wall break? Not quite.
But Gorgovitch has so much bar, we could see a
Reversal?
blue RC.
RC it into a throw. Teched it.
Okay.
6P trying to make sure to stay safe. Chemical
Love.
That
oh my god.
So fast for the range that it provides. That sequence, that scramble. Managing to read the situation properly and tech that throw, keeping Homie in the game just a little bit longer.
Right, but Gorgovitch critically keeps the burst going into this potentially last round, has this great corner sequence.
Apply Stain.
Yep, didn't have the meter to cash out for more with the overdrive. Went for a 5D take there, did Supreme Homie. That is a bold choice. Cashing out a little bit. Stain is applied. We go for the low check. Getting away with a charged Gravedigger. Stain is back on again. We're going to get the mix off of this. And Stain, like you said, Stain gets applied. All of these low checks finally works out for Gorgovitch. Whoa. That pressure, once you got in and started to run that minigame of the corner pressure with the Stain application, absolutely insane.
Bradley.
Yeah.
Boston Blue beat Brad at the beach episode. That sequence was incredible. That was a 3-0. Don't get me wrong, that was a 3-0, but I am crazy impressed with both of those players. Gorgovitch was in the driver's seat the entire match, had wonderful hit confirms, wonderful movement. I love playing around the Crow when you have Stain, deciding to opt for mobility with a teleport, not leaving it to a reapply Stain after getting a hit. I loved going for Gravedigger into button into Stain, not Gravedigger straight into Stain, to Craig risk a little higher, extend your block sequences a little bit longer. Gorgovitch was phenomenal, but some of the ideas that Homie Supreme was representing, I really, really appreciate trying to apply specific matchup tech like that.
Yeah.
And I like, that's, so anyone at home who hasn't done commentary, there's a long-standing tradition of giving commentators crap for their own gameplay, especially among commentators, because, you know, look, we have decided to spec into a different stat, right? We go for charisma, not dexterity.
Sure.
But
I need to see where you're going with this. But
so when I
continue.
get to see someone apply their really cool in-game knowledge that I myself choose not to delve into, it's really satisfying because I get to third-person vicariously live through their actions. And so getting to watch all of these really cool, intricate, matchup-specific decisions like Chemical Love and Stroke going over different heights of fireballs coming out of Testament is really, really rewarding to watch to me.
My takeaway from all of that is that you've admitted you're a lore bard.
Yeah.
You're a lore bard, and now you're going to have to take that point of inspiration and throw it at, hopefully, perhaps Supreme Homie, who I'm imagining that was still a winner's side match.
Yep.
And I see it looks to me, I see on the side that it looks like we're transitioning over to top 16. So this bracket still kicking along. I have the bracket open on my phone as well. Which is, oh my God, what a bracket to be going through. Over 32 players here today. Yeah, I'm reloading the bracket now to let y'all know. Winner's quarters, so Kazam and Swillian still have to play. The winner of that plays Dormancy in top 16.
Okay.
Twofu,
Dormancy keeping up their win streak so far.
Yeah, and I'm glad for that. I'm glad for him. Twofu and Pilot. ShadowKlone and Levity.
Ooh, that's going to be a match.
That'll be a really good one. Somehow, my phone decided to go back on me. I had the bracket, and then I didn't.
These things.
Twofu Pilot is in fact going to be the next match that we're going to see. ShadowKlone Levity will, I don't know if they'll save that or if we'll do it on stream. The other winner side top 16, Gorgovitch, who we obviously just saw on that Testament match, versus Echoes. And that's all just top 16. Still sitting down in the losers bracket. Oberon is still down there. We saw them a little bit earlier. We also saw Uber in the bracket earlier, still down there in losers. Docbach and Altasian is a loser side match. That's a hard pull.
That'll be fun.
AggroCraig and Hypnotic still sitting down there in losers. It looks like Wallaby had to DQ.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
it
a shame.
Presumably did not make it.
Yeah, these things happen, you know.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we're loading into the next game. That'll be Twofu and Pilot in the top 16 winner side.
Yeah, Testament versus Kai. Kai, another character who is feasting.
Kai got turbocharged, man. The character's so strong.
Character's so good.
Oh. All right, we'll have to see what gets done with those changes now. I'm looking for DI. I'm looking for that install. I think that is so much fun to watch. Just go sicko mode for the duration of that, the rest of the match, rather.
Yeah, I like that the way they buffed it. They basically turned it into a V-trigger activation on block. The Street Fighter player in me saw that, and I was like, oh, okay. I understand how this is supposed to function now. Speaking of functions, you are functionally stuck in this corner, has to spend the burst early. Does Pilot wants to land this plane, but it is not going to work. Mance has some technical difficulties. Somebody calls Sully.
Twofu not able to make it happen so far. I like the idea to challenge Fireball with Fireball. Kai's very, very strong.
Ooh.
Okay, good.
All right, that's the party starter. Trying to get this sequence going.
That is so much damage for not having even broken the wall. All right, challenging with big buttons. Gets Pilot around. I like it so far. Still has Burst. Burst was expended for Twofu, so that's yet another advantage on Pilot's side. Stains applied. Oh, that's a whiff!
My God.
Wasn't quite in position for the full punish. Throw whiff, not punished either.
Nice air-to-air there on the starter from Pilot, but is not able to capitalize a whole lot off of it. Has to spend the burst. Does Twofu gets away with it, even in normal jump height. But with this, assuming this connects, this should close out the round and this game one, and indeed it does.
Arbiter
On
slide.
a perfect, that felt like a lengthy perfect.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth there, despite not a lot of damage coming through. A lot of positional battles there.
Yeah, maybe Twofu was just playing too passively. It looks like the interaction of Gravedigger versus Stun Edge is just full stop not in Twofu's favor.
It's a non-starter, for sure. Okay, burst has to come through from Pilot. We did not see a single burst from Pilot in the last game, so that's already an improvement for Twofu. Kyle's a grappler. Tell me otherwise. Okay,
oh, wow.
Great
Actually,
challenge.
Yeah, that was, I liked the attempt at using that dash cancel momentum, really trying to finish out the throw game. Ooh, no! Smoked by the reversal EXC Beast. Now the Gravedigger's out, but we don't care, just sliding right underneath.
The Stun Dipper low profiles underneath the Crow, so you know if there's enough of a gap there, if you have enough space so that it has to travel for a little while, you can get in for free without having to spend the meter.
And that's another one of those matchup-specific things, like you were calling out in that last match. You know, Chemical Love is an answer to some of these spots. Cool, if you have this tool that you can represent that makes them have to be mindful of something, they can't autopilot their aggressive sequences. All right, overdrive version of the fireball. What a smart burst bait from Twofu.
And just as dominant as Pilot looked in the first round, Twofu answering back in kind. Quick 2-0 there.
Wow.
One apiece.
Sometimes Kai feels like that. Like, it's wild how momentum heavy Kai can be. It's just, he's like one of the most prototypical, like, he has a version of every tool kind of thing, right? And he's always been that way. Sol isn't the Shoto.
No.
Kai's the Shoto.
Yes. Throw tech, BRC, answers
Ooh.
6P is such a good tool coming out of a BRC. If you see they already have a button, it means you get to go ahead and invuln right through it, but the back throw in response means that's going to be Stain State applied and positive bonus for Pilot.
Oh, 6P at round start position when you have frame disadvantage off of a wall break, but we're closing it out anyway here is Twofu.
That was bold. I like that.
There's a lot of bold action coming out from Twofu. I mean, there's a lot of, like, just how heavily confident they are with just dashing forward at these really extended ranges. Vapor Thrust whiffs, catches air.
And again, not in position for a full punish. Does take what they can get, but Twofu already back to the position. Nope, I'm mistaken. This is such a back and forth round. Can't even keep up with Twofu. Driver's seat.
That's actually going to wall break.
It breaks from so far, so consistently. Back throw, that's not an easy situation. You can't run up quickly enough. Doesn't quite get the conversion. Applying Stain State means he can keep them in the corner.
Okay, the 2K check coming out from Pilot. That was a scary spot to be in. You did not want to surrender that. You had only a little bit of life to gamble with. Let's see who's going to take this their first second game of the set here. Try to swing this momentum back. It's been so explosive. 2K2D setting up the Gravedigger, has this corner position. But look at how passively Pilot has been forced to play because of all of these different tools Twofu is representing. Between the Stun Dipper, between the
6Ps.
Yeah, all of these different tools.
Vapor Thrust.
Yeah. Well, I think Vapor Thrust is probably the only one that's not been a problem. Every Vapor Thrust is
But it's been
airball.
represented.
Yeah.
So you still have to keep it in mind. But you are right, it hasn't really been landing very well. The 2P mash doesn't quite land. Stun Dipper goes under the Crow once again. Has meter to convert, doesn't spend it. 2P mash into a 6P into Dystrovia, confirm. He's going to apply Stain. Egregiously plus.
Oh, gets the combo off the 5D check. We got the overhead. Stain is reapplied.
Teleport in. Haven't seen Arbiter sign, looking for the overhead.
Ooh, it connected!
With the dash momentum, that means it has so much range that it can cover.
Yeah, it looked like there was a counter hit slowdown there too, so I wonder whether Pilot had maybe tried to anti-air it and was just a little bit late.
All right, we're going Fireball Wars. 5K. Challenge out to the teleport. Does come through. Diraclat gets some space. Another thing we haven't talked about, Kai does have that shock state. Both of these characters applying debuffs that can be popped for a later effect. 5D held going up in the air. This is some heavy damage that you're going to have to help.
Oh my god, no, the combo dropped. Nobody can finish a full charge 5D combo in Boston to save their life, apparently.
It's okay. It's okay. We got 2P
the sun's in their eyes.
Yeah, you know, at the beach, that's why you got the shades.
It's all the Coronas.
You need to protect yourself.
Or whatever drink you bring to the beach. I don't judge you if it's Corona. It
Sam
wouldn't be
Summer
my pick.
for me, I think.
Sam Summer?
You got to get
All
that
right.
Boston representation at the Boston Blue Beat. Diraclat coming through. All right, we got meaties. Shimmy.
Oh, Shimmy, no bite, but just the amount of coverage that Twofu is getting. Every choice, there's twofold of choice in every one of Twofu's decisions, and Pilot is not able to navigate through the storm that is Twofu's offense. We're really not seeing anything.
This is one more touch. Will do it for Twofu. 6Ps through the fireball.
Oh, anti-air 5P with the side switch as a combo starter works out for Twofu. And despite that weak performance game one, Twofu swings it back into their favor. And it's crazy how much that swung back around. It took that first game for Twofu to be like, okay, Stun Edge and Diary Clut and 6P. These are the things I need to represent in these spots. And suddenly Pilot was just like, what do I do? Pull up.
Yep. The ability to not just adapt, but specifically identify the tools that are causing you problems on the fly is really difficult.
Yes.
And seeing that happen in real time for Twofu, very impressive. I really like the way they were using specifically kind of like some dash momentum into special in order to get around the fireballs, the Gravediggers coming out from the Testament. It's a really, really good way to approach that situation, right? Like, it's hard to get your space against Testament. So, okay, don't bother. Just get up in their face.
Right. Why not? And you know, was doing a great job of staying in that range. You know, there were even spots where combos or more guaranteed quote-unquote pressure were sort of being surrendered in favor of using the dash cancel just to stay in that range and really open up, you know, the throw game in a lot of spots, which made it that much harder. And then by game 3, you know, we had spent so much time working in the throw game, working in these dash cancel stuff, that suddenly shimmies were on the table. And at that point, it was just like Twofu was operating on layer 2, getting to layer 3, and Pilot was still struggling to adapt to layer 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that'll bring us into our next round. That is going to be Gorgovitch versus Echoes. Gorgovitch we saw a little bit earlier. Echoes, probably a significantly better Milia than any of us, so likely not the worst Milia in the US. I am really curious to see kind of actually an extension of what we saw in the last round. Milia's mobility is even higher than Kai's and has an additional air jump as well as has the Capel in order to move around in the air. So really, really curious to see how that plus the hair car is going to be able to move around all of the Gravediggers.
Right. Bravely full charging that ground Gravedigger. I feel like that's one of the things where if I'm Echoes, I want to be watching for where Gorgovitch is going to try to cheat out extra time on Gravedigger and then use that opportunity to go to the air. Oh, nice anti-air. Even gets the follow-up after sticking out. The Succubus wants to get it ready, but unfortunately, given the position on the screen, did not get Stain out of it. Reversal overdrive should connect. You are going to live, however. We're not close enough for a wall break. PRC finds the air back throw.
What a read. Oh, I like that. That was a really good call out from Gorgovitch. Plus, establishing that you were willing to do that this early in the set against a character that loves to be in the air is a really threatening representation. Speaking of the air, whole combo coming through here. Doesn't quite break the wall.
I mean, that's probably for the best. I think Milia is another one of those characters that can really benefit from trying to keep that corner position for a little bit longer. Stain is applied, but we're a little bit too far away. Here's one of the differences. You talked about Milia has even better mobility than Kai. You know what she doesn't have? The same tools to generate active threat from farther away. So if Testament is able to get started, it's going to be much harder for Milia to meaningfully contest on the ground. First game on the board for Gorgovitch.
I think you're exactly on the money. There is a stark difference between mobility and contesting.
Yeah.
And so while Kai has a little bit of both, Milia really spec'd into one over the other. So got to see if you can rely strictly on the mobility in order to make things happen. And one thing we saw in the last game from Gorgovitch was sending the crow out straight, not a nice head level, when you could also be throwing it down toward their feet. Really interesting decision because, you know, Milia likes to jump over things. Threatening with the eye level crow means, okay, if you're going to do that, you got to want it.
Right. Oh, wow. Actually going aggressive against the full charge Gravedigger. Has the Stain for the corner confirm. Has to spend the burst there. Does Echoes? I'm not completely sure I agree with that burst.
I agree with you. I think that was maybe a little heroic, if you want to call it that. I'm also seeing a whole lot of counter hits from Gorgovitch off of like slash buttons when Echoes is trying to land, which is a little worrisome because buttons that large and slow, don't get me wrong, large buttons can cover a lot of space, but as Milia, you really need to be cognizant of that because if you're trying to do landing aerials and getting caught out with big slow buttons, that's an issue. You know, it's not an issue getting your opponent down to a sliver of health, run up 6p, getting on the board.
Yeah, Echoes managed to weather the storm on that one, but we're going to have to see. I mean, you really just need to get it started. Milia is such a snowbally character. I think the problem is, and I say this all the time, Milia is a character that needs to hit you far more than a lot of the other very aggressive characters in this game, and each of those is an opportunity for Gorgovitch to do something like that. There's that psychic backdash defensive choice, finding the back throw, really smart to steal that corner position back, counter hit, close slash. We don't finish out the combo, but we're in that Stain application cycle now. Reapplying Stain off of the Succubuses on block, we're going to get a mix-up.
YRC
I like that.
extended. It was a great YRC. If you're so plus after Nostrovia, that pressure can get really, really overwhelming. YRC, buy yourself the space. Milia can run around that space really well, but Testament controls the space you want to run around in. Corner pressure coming through.
Ooh, this is my space.
Not
Get out of my
Facebook.
top 8.
You know, your follow-up was way better than mine there.
We both saw the same setup. Gorgovitch had the best payoff though.
It's true. It's
Up
true.
2-0 over Echoes to get into a top 8 spot because, as we said, this is the winner side of top 16. Echoes.
Vortex. This is the first application of that Oki Vortex that we really see come through for Echoes so far. Does pay off quite well. That's good, clean 70%, 80%. Get a mix-up opportunity after the special.
All right, cycling in the throws a little bit more.
Haircar OTG. Not one you see represented often, but worked really well. Thought it was going to be the little damage that they needed to get the round win. Not quite, but the follow-up makes it happen.
All right. We got Stain on the board, playing a little bit more methodically now is Gorgovitch, but we lose out on the Stain because Echoes finds the spot to counter poke through. 5P mash. Gorgovitch showing some Abare, and there it is once again, the teleport to get out of the corner into the throw. This is something that Gorgovitch is representing and elects to keep the corner.
Capel does escape, however. A lot of that air mobility for Milia makes it a little more rewarding. Gets the turnaround. Overdrive breaks the wall. That's a lot of meter for Testament, though.
Gold Burst, oh.
I don't know about that one.
That was the worst Gold Burst deal in the history of Gold Burst deals perhaps ever.
I offer.
You got 5% meter and off of a Gold Burst and then lost the round.
I offer my burst. You receive the round. Okay, Oki's coming through. 2K2D burst getting expended there nice and early. I love that decision. If you let Milia get that blender, that's how rounds get lost. And then you even get to establish your own corner pressure. Ooh, the Mirage dodge through though. Really good awareness there for Echoes. Carrying almost all the way to the corner, not quite. 2P
Nice 2P
mash of the
mash.
Mirage.
Finding the throw. Gorgovitch keeps opening up this throw game critically. Oh my god, the 6H representation. You thought you were safe. You were not. Reversal EXE Beast. You do not get to open up your throw game. I am the one who throws.
Oh, one more for Gorgovitch. We'll get into the next round. Echoes fighting for their tournament life out here. Ooh, a Mirage into throw from so low in the air means that is really quick, hard to react to.
We saw that literally as the first thing that
Three
Echoes
overhead,
win.
4 overheads in that sequence?
Oh, you know it.
Ooh, Milia's dirty sometimes. Follow up with a 5K. Doesn't get the knockdown. There it is, 2K2D. There's that momentum Milia round.
They
Staying
happen.
in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Gorgovitch, you can't let that shake you, right? Sometimes Milia is going to do that to you. Smoked by the 2D, but we burn the burst.
Can't even see where you are sometimes on that screen when Milia's hopping around like that. Disc coming through, gets the mix off the low. Jump in. Another 2K2D into special. Super that is going to get the hard knockdown.
Oh, double side switch. This is a fantastic looking round for Echoes right now. We are going to be able to close it out. We don't even need the full overdrive. Just the super hair will do it.
Gotta shake it off.
2 games apiece.
Gotta shake it off. They're Milia rounds. It happens. Sometimes Milia mixes you. It's nothing you can do. Sometimes those happen. It's okay. Keep your head in it. Close this one out. Or instead, keep mixing.
Okay.
Echoes.
Close slash has to burn the burst. Does Gorgovitch. Keeps getting clipped out by the 2D after. I feel like Gorgovitch is letting go of down back a little bit too early on these ground chains.
Doesn't go for the overdrive. Keeps the meter. Ooh, wait for the S disc. Gets counter hit out. This is some really good momentum for Amelia.
Overhead.
Overhead does it. Guessed wrong.
Yeah, Echoes is just playing super aggressive, and there's not really anything that Gorgovitch has been able to demonstrate that is giving Echoes any reason to stop. Going at a roller coaster's pace here. Backdash doesn't even care. The move is so active. Teleport out, but look, Echoes finally wise to it, just backs off, surrenders the space, and is like, I'll push you back in after. How did that not cross up?
Those are the Season 2 buffs on Capel. That's a combo starter now. That challenge with the 2K2D. Gaps in the pressure means you get to run your mix. Burst was expended. Get out of that mix. YRC, get out of that mix again.
right? But the Succubus is up there, so we're not going to be able to apply Stain. You can see that Gorgovitch is trying to establish more air control, but it is too little, too late. In Game 5, that is not when you finally realize that you need to keep Echoes grounded.
Absolutely. Getting up in the air was where Echoes was finding all the success, and got that was success after success, got the momentum rolling, and Millia doesn't do a ton of damage, but can do a lot of mental damage. If you get mixed more than a time or two, it can be really hard to get your head back into the game. And the way you win against Millia is keep yourself out of a situation where the mix is present.
Yeah, she is an overwhelming character.
Yes, absolutely.
And Gorgovitch absolutely got overwhelmed.
Which, it happens to the best of us.
Oh, sure.
Keep your head high. Gorgovitch played really well in the matches we saw so far. The cool thing for me, we're going to see Echoes yet again in the next match.
Wait, so hold on. Would that make this then?
Losers. We're not
I'm refreshing the bracket. Yeah. Don't worry, y'all. I'm not checking my. It's just me and you and you. This is just the bracket.
Yeah.
I need to understand what we're looking at
here. This is against Shadow, right?
Hmm?
I think we heard this is against ShadowKlone.
Yeah, ShadowKlone and Echoes.
Yep. Two people we've seen on stream so far. Both incredibly impressive players.
Yeah, so I that's what I was about to check. This is a top 8 match. We have officially made it to the winner's side of top 8.
All right, let's get it going. Little scrambly already. Minion setup versus mobility from Millia can be a very tumultuous matchup. It's really hard to keep track of both of these characters. So trying to keep everything in your mental stack aware throughout this kind of match, it's going to be a really, really hard task for both of these players. It's going to be very taxing on their mental stacks.
Yeah, I think one thing is we've definitely seen ShadowKlone play against Millia players. At the last monthly, we saw ShadowKlone versus Kazam was one of the matchups that happened. And, you know, Jacko can also overwhelm you. I think it's just when Jacko overwhelms you, it's not... You're not being overwhelmed with this myriad of options and mobility and trying to swat this fly. It's much more like, and now you're going to block, and now you're going to block, and now you're going to block, and now you're going to block.
Okay, you have a chance. Okay, you got to block. So you really got to stay aware to get that one moment where you can come back out swinging. However, Millia, uniquely positioned to be able to, like we were talking about, against Millia, keep herself out of that situation. Sure. All the mobility means you can maybe try and get yourself into a position where you don't have to deal with the mix out of Jacko. However,
oh my God,
pile driver does
Millia
so
guts,
much damage.
And Millia guts being like non-existent.
Absolutely.
She got absolutely deleted there. Didn't even need the wall break. And another thing that ShadowKlone is already representing that I like is we saw the use of the shield in that last round. And I think if you're uncomfortable with where you think Millia is going to come from, the fact that you can drop a minion shield and just live in it is a little bit more comfort for you. The question is that too much resource set up for too little reward? There is going to be the overdrive for the wall break here. Oh my God, that's also going to kill because Jacko also apparently has minimal guts.
These are two squishy characters. Echoes already hot from the last match, already warmed up, already on a roll, keeping it going. That's, I think, 4 rounds straight? Maybe, maybe not.
If we're including the previous set, then yes. Empty low. Oh my God, it keeps going. Keep it going, don't stop. Empty lows into empty lows.
Overhead into PRC upward into empty low. I got hit 100% of the time.
Oh, good God.
Thankfully, ShadowKlone did save the burst. Has it available for this round. Advancing normals.
Yeah, Echo's wisely using the burst there to prevent ShadowKlone from being able to actually start running their game. Now, ShadowKlone actually needs to really lock down Echoes long enough to get started all together again. And we're nearly at enough meter. I mean, if Echoes staggers their use of defensive resources...
That throw is such an interesting option to represent. You think, okay, Millia's got money on H-Disc, then okay, cool, I just got to figure out the right way to block. But if the disc isn't timed correctly, then you can actually jump out of it using the throw in that situation when you know your setup isn't air gap tight. it's another option that your opponent has to deal with over and over. They have to recognize which situation they're in. They have to recognize which situations you can apply after that. The matrix is deep.
It is. Okay, we're already stuck in this corner. Close slash anti-air counter hit starter. We have to burst that. ShadowKlone does spend the burst. But now, ShadowKlone at 60% life in Game 3, down 2-0 with very few resources. And what I was going to say earlier, if Echoes continues to wisely stagger their use of defensive resources, ShadowKlone is having such a hard time locking Echoes down enough to get one party starter. You have to do another one. Finding that full charge 5D, do
That's
you
a
have
party
the
starter
combo?
indeed.
Okay.
We finally get one converted, like you were just saying, able to lock that Milia down just long enough to find that party starter, close a round out. Stymie the momentum from Echoes, critically important. But already reestablishing momentum, Echoes gonna get this wall break, yes! Positive bonus for Milia. Does in fact use meter very well.
Just walking back, finds the starter here. How much do we worry about YRC though? No, gets clipped by the far slash, has to spend their own YRC to ShadowKlone. And Echoes gets away with a hair slide into red RC. Next hit should do it for this round. We find the empty low. That will indeed do it.
That fast RC was diabolical. Because Milia can lock you down pretty well with a lot of moves, and using S-Disc is not usually one of them. But if you represent S-Disc into fast RC, that means you're locked down by the disc for just a split second, which is all she needs to get in there, get a mix going.
One thing that Echoes is doing really well is ensuring that every time ShadowKlone goes to the air, Echoes is dashing forward and sticking out close slash and landing these close slash anti-airs. Echoes is very nearly going to get the burst back, but we're not actually even going to need it because the combo's closing it out.
That sequence was beautiful. Going for the restand and choosing to drop it to maintain pressure, going for the Oki again instead of the wall break. Makes a lot of sense. We talked about that earlier in the bracket. Choosing to be mindful of when you break the wall versus when you go for Oki is very advantageous for Milia. And then having the wherewithal to correctly back throw out of a Mirage after crossing up with the Mirage to get back into the corner to maintain your Oki.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of very quick decision making there for Echoes, and he did every decision correctly.
Yeah, so that sends Echoes to the winners finals opposite the winner of Kazam and Twofu, which means
are we going to see a Milia mirror
we could
potentially?
see a Milia mirror in winners finals of Boston Blue Beat's Beach episode. Which, if there's one thing I know about Beach episodes classically, is that they do feature the female characters in the roster.
That is true, yeah. Well, the good news is, before we get there, we are actually going to go check out some of the matches in Losers. We're in Losers top 12 right now.
Indeed.
Get a couple more matches before we proceed all the way up to top 8. But before we get there, we do want to plug our match arena one more time real quick. We've been going through these matches. They have been of only the highest caliber here at Boston Blue Beat. So if you want to maintain the presence of this immaculate gameplay, then you got to make sure it is worthwhile for these players to keep coming out. Best way to do that, drag them in your car probably, kicking and screaming if you need to. Barring that, contributing to the prize pool to make sure it's worth coming out every single time. Matcherino, exclamation Matcherino in the chat. Show your support.
Yeah, it is super straightforward. It should not be too difficult. The next match that we are going to get looks to be Levity versus Guato. We still have Uber versus Swillian. The winner of that plays Gorgovitch. Docbach and Supreme Homie. Winner of that plays Dormancy. Oh, Dormancy's still in it. Hypnotic won over Bottonjohn, so Hypnotic Pilot is another match to round out the losers' top 16. So there's a couple of names in here still. And it's these names being on the loser side is like, oh, okay, oh, damn, all right.
Yeah, Boston showed up today.
They did. I mean...
And Connecticut,
and
Maine.
Yeah, everybody came through.
Yeah, gotta love the New England FGC showing up in full force, supporting the scenes, supporting the gameplay.
Yeah.
We're gonna see Soul versus Leo.
Yeah, the first Soul of the day. The sun finally came out for the beach.
So I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at me for not having seen it earlier. Clashing monkey versus monkey. Monkey see, monkey do on round start. This is a really interesting matchup because the two of them both have very complete movesets that are largely similar to each other, but with key differences. Their fireballs go different distances, they have different properties. You just saw there, Leo's can actually beat out Soul's fireball. Leo has that cross-up mix, whereas Soul really has more stagger pressure.
Oh my god, Levity. Levity, get out this man's head. Levity's in Guato's bungalow, squatting.
6H on round start, good option. Good blocking coming out from Guato there.
Psychic backdash closing out the round here as Levity. Levity made like 5 decisions that were all just like, I know. Don't worry, I know. Don't worry, I know.
Okay, I love this. Is the second round in a row that Levity went for 2S into 6P round start. This time working out with the counter throw. Counter hit, rather, excuse me.
All right, already has this corner momentum. There is Levity. Okay, Guato finds a party starter for themselves, but not going to get a whole lot out of it. Elects to stay same side. Goes for
DPRC into DPRC.
And it's another one of those spots. If Leo has that down charge and they see you do something that's not real, what's to stop them from just doing it?
Backdash punishes the throw attempt, but the DP punishes the Oki. Levity showing up hard in game 1. Lots of good reads there, like you were pointing out earlier, deep into Guato's head. I need to see a little bit of adaptation here at round start. And we see it coming out of Levity. The backdash after Guato had represented 2S in round start both times, now 3.
All right, sets up the H fireball to try to get some stuff started. Oh, that DP is going to get blocked. Burst comes out. Levity manages to avoid the brunt of that damage, but now Guato going to get big starter here. Oh, doesn't elect to go for the wall splat, keeps the corner position instead.
Wall break with the Fafnir. We did see a little bit of a shimmy attempt coming out there. 6H actually keeping safe against the round start blue RC.
Oh, the empty low off of the red RC cancel from Bandit Bringer.
That was dirty.
That's always been such a gross thing for him to have in this title. But Levity finding the starter here, pushing into the corner, but Guato finding a lot of these errant hits. Levity representing flash kick a whole lot more often, but there's a big air-to-air. Guato has to burst. PRC behind. We're going to cross up again. Of course he's going to cross up again. He wants out of the corner. Why does no one ever watch for that?
Because earlier in the pit, I saw him do it 4 times in a row. He was playing some casuals, warming up. Yeah, cross up into death. I'm telling you, this man's a madman.
He will never not. There it was again. If any Leo player corners themselves as part of that, just you know that your ankles are going to get crossed again. You know they're going back.
At least bank on it until they show it right there. You can bank on the cross-up coming through. You decide to challenge it this time. Now the onus is on Levity to change up that approach.
Yeah, and as you had already called out, Guato can't freely use his fireball because Levity in Leo here is actually going to get a little bit more out of it. Finds the side switch off of the red RC cancel from the DP.
Manages the combo this time. Looks like wants that positive bonus. Again, the 6H coming out after the reset beats out the blue RC.
Dash cancel momentum into 2D, and they nerfed that button.
They nerfed that button big time. The PRC after the fireball is such a strong option to enforce that it's your turn.
Did you
Levity
see
2-0.
Did you see how thoroughly Levity played around burst there? Getting that 6K and then waiting and being like, you're going to burst here. It doesn't come out and then uses the stagger reset off of it to establish the throw game to close it out. STP continues to be represented by Guato, but Levity doesn't care. I have my own. Ooh, 6P. No bandits here.
Bandit Bringer was not heavily represented in the first 2 games, adapting almost immediately with the anti-air. Overhead's blocked. Good work. Again, that DP is getting so much done for Levity. Guato not playing around it particularly mindfully.
Right.
Does get one for himself. Burst
like
out.
that.
Keep that corner pressure in your favor for Levity.
Just backing off. Oh, no, wanted for...
Wait for an air throw.
Was it an air throw?
I think he's going for an air throw.
I didn't see the limb come out.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Okay,
Ooh,
smart back throw into the OTG to close out the round. And it is now set point for Levity.
Real quick so far. Guato, this is your time. Gotta show up. Goes for the cross-up. Okay. Heavy Volcanic Viper.
Oh, baits the DP. There's been so much S Volcanic Viper coming out from Guato, and finally Levity's just like, well, I'll just make you whiff.
This set has been defined by who plays around the other player's toolkit. Punishing that Bandit Bringer is not easy. It is pretty quick on the recovery, so being able to have the wherewithal to do that after it's not heavily represented.
The DP bait again and baits the burst. Levity moved back in, vacated the bungalow, and then was like, nah, I liked it here. I'm squatting again. Squatters' rights.
All up in your head. Charles Xavier out here.
Oof.
You think you're a gorilla. Turns out you're a Momo Jojo? Is that his name?
Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls, the super intelligent monkey.
It's bad that Powerpuff Girls feels like a deep cut now. I don't think it should be, but it
Did
feels
they ever
like
get a reboot? I feel like that's a show that should have would have gotten a reboot.
Did Powerpuff Girls get a reboot? Okay.
All right, chat. This is important business. Okay, a Strive is happening. We understand. Boston Blue Beat, Match Reno, etc. Important things. Chat. Tell us if Powerpuff Girls got a reboot.
No, I can tell you.
Can you?
The CW.
The CW exists, don't they?
Went to do a live-action Powerpuff Girls reboot.
What?
That I think the pilot was so bad they completely scrapped and reshot it. I don't know whatever happened to it. But what I know of this show, because no one ever, to my knowledge, no one has seen the pilot.
Okay.
But they basically, the premise was they were like grown up now.
Okay.
And like Professor Plutonium?
Sure.
Professor Utopia? Whatever?
The guy who...
We're going to say the Professor.
Yeah.
The Professor was basically reworked to be like, you know how the reputation of people that are like parents of child stars that like micromanage everything about
the
them?
helicopter parent archetype,
Yeah.
right.
Apparently, the whole thing was like he was a super toxic helicopter parent manager kind of person, and they all rejected him. And the whole thing was that like they were basically everything you associate with like disgruntled former child pop stars.
Okay.
Complete with like all of the messed up stuff all of the messed up like very adult oriented stuff that you know the CW would put in.
Yeah,
just
that
because.
checks out. Well, okay, so clearly we need to go do our research on how the show ended up.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, we're actually going to throw to a break real quick. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more Strive action while we get set up for a little bit further into the bracket. Don't go anywhere.
Ya regresamos con más de King of Fighters 15 aquí en Boston Blue Beat, patrocinado por Balance Patch, Traveling Controller, Metafy, Axis Games, Red Bull, Junk Food Arcade, Main 6, SNK, the future is now.
Has this ever happened to you? You're live streaming some net play and struggling with a matchup. In your desperation, you turn to the one source of knowledge in front of you, and in doing so, make a terrible mistake.
Yo, what is fucking character, dog? These fucking Nogos get carried like nothing. Wait, for real? Yo, let me try this shit. Fuck this guy. Don't ever give me fucking advice like that ever again. Y'all fucking garbage. I don't know why the fuck y'all told me to do that shit. No wonder y'all garbage. And it's some fucking bullshit, dog. I suck? Don't ever fucking tell me I suck, bro. I've never seen you out here getting placements. I don't even know what your fucking rank is, but I'll cook your bitch ass right now. What's the next major you're going to? I'll money match your bitch ass right now. $1,000 right now. Put the wallet up. You scrubs keep giving me this garbage ass fucking advice. How am I supposed to fucking play this game if y'all just keep giving me this bullshit?
Twitch chat, a community built around our shared gaming hobby, a circle of regular faces to join a show on a weekday night. Just remember, Just because someone in chat says something is a good idea doesn't mean it is. It's not the place for deep breakdowns of matchups and the like. This has been FGC PSA, here to remind you, don't listen to Twitch chat. Alright, man. Whatever you say. Hey, you gotta be quiet now, huh? No, none of that. None of that action, Uber driver. None of that action. 4 stars like that. Has this ever happened to you? You're at home, playing ranked for your favorite fighting game. You're on a hot streak, and pardon my French, these bitches cannot handle your shit. You're feeling kinda nice. So you pack up to go head to your local, ready to bring all the hype action from home to the real world.
Yes! I am playing out of my mind today. I am ranking up like crazy. I can't wait to take this new tech to locals.
Remove those delay-based connections, and suddenly, those online tricks are much harder to pull off. It's a whole different world when you can look your opponent in the eye. This has been an FGC PSA. That whack online shit won't work offline. Have you ever had this happen to you? You're at the venue, stick in hand, custom made to your specifications exactly how you'd want it, an absolute expression of your individuality. And then you hear a voice cry out in the venue asking for help. I need a stick.
Oh man, my stick broke. Hey, hold on a second. Hey man, can I borrow your stick?
Yeah, sure. Here you go.
You know, I think actually I'm just gonna go borrow the house pad.
Hey, we have a game?
Oh, you can tell the TO to DQ me, actually. I got something I need to do, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm so glad they changed the Burger to 2H in this patch.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, they made a lot of changes. I'm not really sure about... Yeah?
One of my buttons is acting up. Do you mind taking a look at my stick?
Yeah, sure. God. You know, actually, I told my friend I would go help them with a thing somewhere else. Yeah, goodbye.
Oh, okay. Bye. I don't know what's going on today. Is it my stick art?
You know, it really could be. It's really hard to find appropriate stick art nowadays and get some yourself, so.
And yours is, I don't even, how do you even play on that?
It's like a cello, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. It's like a cello.
When you customize your stick, it becomes an extension of yourself. The modifications you make are an expression of who you are and who you choose to present yourself as. This is an FGC PSA. When you build and customize your stick, keep it tame. The rest of us have to look at it too. Has this ever happened to you? You're a new player watching a game with fresh eyes. You're a sponge for new information, desperate to learn. So, you turn to the quickest available resource to you, your local community.
Yo, 2368 is -5. Can you mash on that shit already?
It's like, I don't get this. My 2A is like 4 frames. I always get hit by that shit.
Wait, but didn't you say 2368 is always a -1? So that means that they would trade, right? If
No. First of all, I don't know where you heard that from. And second, if you heard it from him, he's a dirty masher. It doesn't fucking matter.
Wait, but didn't you mash DP on it like the whole time?
Look, everyone just BS's it with this frame data shit. But did you just see that?
Yeah, so earlier they were mentioning that 236A was punishable, but I could have sworn it was a -1.
It is, but if you block high, it actually ends up being plus. So you do have to be a little careful about that.
Are you sure? They were really confident about that.
I'm like reasonably sure, like 60% sure.
Wait, aren't you supposed to know?
I also beat 60% of the people here.
That doesn't make it any better.
No, well, okay, 1 second. Let's check this.
Your local community is a fantastic resource. Playing games with like-minded people helps foster a healthy competitive mindset and build some of the best friendships you'll have. But just because they're there doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. This has been an FGC PSA. Don't let fighting game players BS you. Check the frame data. And you can check the frame data on resources quite like Dustloop, Lazumi, and Dream Cancel Wiki, all providing fantastic information.
Boston Blue Beat.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks to Twofu for those wise words, PSAs for we and you for proper tournament etiquette, like our top 8 players have already got situated, because we know we got that ironed out. If you're just joining us, I'm Brad Muse here at Boston Blue Beat's Beach episode. Joining me is Lasergician. What a top 8 we have.
It's been a blast so far. We have seen some crazy matches. I'm really, really fond of the Milia so far, which is a fun representation I don't usually get to cast, which we are eventually going to see a mirror match of in the winners finals. But first, we're going to make a run through the loser side.
Yeah, loser side of top 8, we have Levity versus Uber, both players that we've seen so far. Levity on that Leo, and Uber was on Nago, if I recall correctly. Yep. Probably one of the more aggressive Nagos that we have seen in the region, and we have no shortage of Nago representation around here.
That is true.
Definitely Maz, normally the Nago player that makes these deep runs in the brackets, but 1, didn't seem to make that run today, but 2, also, like I said, much less aggressive. And then on the flip side of the loser side of the bracket, we have Supreme Homie on that Eno that we got to watch earlier today, playing against Hypnotic, who we have not had the pleasure to see on stream yet today.
So tell me a little bit about Hypnotic. We were chatting a little bit about him as a player before we were getting here. Do you, what all do we know? We know?
So Hypnotic, I know Hypnotic as when Dragon Ball FighterZ was the new hotness,
right?
And we were playing that every week. Hypnotic was sort of the first person in New England to really run the Dragon Ball FighterZ brackets. By which I don't mean run like putting on the event.
Not a TO.
No, I mean run like if they were in the bracket, they were winning. They were that first one. Piccolo Army player historically. They may even still play. I don't know how much they play fighters anymore, but I think they were playing, Piccolo, Z-Brawly, Base Jita when last I saw. So really tried to make that character work for a while. Has made the leap and tried a couple of other characters in a couple of other games. I know they played Zangief for a bit in Street Fighter V. I don't know what would possess them to do that. What's wild is I am not completely sure who they play in Strive.
Okay, this will be a lot of fun. Turns out we have both losers' 8th matches going on currently. We're still waiting a little bit on the winner's side, so we'll see where that gets us.
I wish y'all could see this room right now, actually, because if you've been to BP before, you know how big the space is. I have never seen it this full.
It is packed, and it's kind of impressive because despite the fact that it's packed, everyone's being pretty good about masking up, keeping some space, giving people on the setups room to play their games. It's good to see people both coming out, but also coming out in the right way.
Yeah. I think it's really important that we're still mindful of that. There's still new variants cooking. There's if you're a Twitter doom scroller like I am, you know that there's the new one kicking around. So COVID isn't over yet. We still have to be mindful of that and do our due diligence. So I definitely
play smart, play safe.
Yeah, as someone who is an anxious individual, definitely happy to look up and see the amount of respect for the mask.
And meanwhile, equally happy just to see everyone out.
Yes.
It's the FGC has that C in there, and making sure you can actually get some of that community time in. It's really a blast.
Absolutely, yeah. So, it's a shame that y'all might not get to see any more of 2 of these 4 players that we just listed because those 2 matches happened. But the point of highlighting how full the room is there's still other tournaments going.
Yes.
Because, I talked about you know, we've talked about DNF, KOF, Blaze Blue,
Fighters
and Fighters
and Melty
all
Blood.
running, but there's also them Fighting Herds.
Yep.
Has a bracket here today. Uni, I think Uni has a bracket here today as well, right?
We got
They're running an
CRTs out here.
Yeah, there's a Sailor Moon S bracket being run here today. There are so many titles here, and Boston Bluebeat has really been trying to push that forward as sort of the one-stop shop for a lot of these anime titles. And I mean, if you've been putting Blaze Blue CF on your back for as long as Boston Bluebeat has,
no small feat,
you are going to be a champion of these small communities.
Absolutely.
You know, you are no stranger to being the home for the broken, the beaten, and the damned.
Oh, just
yeah, I went there.
Oh my God, that is my favorite reference of the day. So actually, earlier in the day, I was looking through some old CDs that my parents sent me because they were cleaning out.
That is an old
attic.
sentence already.
It is. Yes, I am an old man. I turned 30 this year.
I turned 30 today. Is my 30th birthday.
Chat, if there's one thing Brad wants for his birthday, it's for you to donate to the Matcherino. Can you please tell them how badly they're in need of the Matcherino?
Well, so all of these players are here braving the wild conditions of the New England sun.
It's true.
To come and hang out at.
We are not apt to sunlight. We are nerds.
Do you see this? Do you see how not pale I look because of how white my shirt is? Like, this is the same. This is a white shirt, and that just is my skin. That's actually, I'm uncomfortable with. I'm looking at myself in the monitor. This isn't right. I'm built different, and it's like a factory defect.
It's true.
But so the point is, I don't need help because I'm just doomed. I just can't go in the sun. But these players need sunblock.
It's true.
And they need hats.
You can't buy those unless you contribute to the pot so that they can get them in advance of tomorrow, day 2 of Beach episode, when we go to the beach.
Yes, so you can go and hit !Matcherino in the chat, or if you want to hop into all of the Matcherinos, I know that they have all been tweeted in shared lists on Boston Bluebeat's Twitter. If you go to Matcherino, you can sign in. It's like 2 clicks to sign in because they do let you sign in with no shortage of other accounts, at least one of which I know you have. If you're in chat, that means you have a Twitch account. You can sign in there. Claim the code. If you have a little bit more time, you can go and do those sponsor quests. They are super easy, and they make a huge difference for these players. Everybody knows, we've all seen the conversations over the last month or two about the importance of this crowdfunding element for the prize pools and how big a difference it makes to the players that put on this great show for you guys.
And if you want to make this man extra happy on his birthday, we got to do some learning. Learning is hard on your own, but you can make it easier by going to Metafy. Metafy, we talked about it before, we're going to talk about it again because it is truly one of the premier fighting game services on the internet. You can sign up for coaching, get some help from someone who is specifically there to help you improve in whatever way you need or that they think may benefit you best. And even better, you can use the code BEACH10, BEACH spelled out 10, for 10% off all lessons valid until July 21st. That is still a good week or so. I think it's about 5 days that you got to go use that code. Get yourself some learning. Make Brad a happy birthday boy.
Yeah. And hey, when you're done doing all that learning, everybody needs a goal, right? You're working towards something. Maybe you're local enough that you can work towards Boston Bluebeat's next offline monthly. That is going to be coming at you on August 20th for Just Plus R. The next offline monthly is August 13th. Yeah, I do see that on there. 2 p.m. Eastern. All the usual titles are going to be there. Melty, Guilty Gear, they're still showing love to Rev 2. Rev 2 is always going to be here. Blaze Blue CF, Guilty Gear Strive, Dragon Ball Fighters. Is KOF not going to be here for that one? I don't see it on that graphic.
There
will be KOF. I have confirmation from the voice of God.
You know, sometimes you really just got to rely on your TO to tell you what's up. Turns out, what's up is KOF, along with all those other great games, so make sure you check out our next online monthly, plus R, and then the next offline on the 13th of August. Hope to see you out here. You can tell just by the way we're packed in here today. Hopefully going to be another great turnout there. So we got Levity versus Twofu next for our next matchup. This is going to be a slobber knocker. We've seen a couple of these before. Happy to see them again.
Yeah, so with Levity having taken that over Uber. So what's interesting about that, right, is like they're both so aggro as players. I immediately assume that the strength of Levity's placement on those flash kicks probably gave Uber a difficult time with the Uber used a lot of 2K mash, a lot of 5P and 6P mash, and really represented that 2H. And I have to assume there were probably spots where Levity was really smoking out Uber for a lot of those choices. But Twofu was the Kai that we had seen earlier, yes, versus Pilot.
Yep.
The way that Twofu came online in game 2 of that set was crazy for me. But Leo does have that ability to play a slightly slower ground game if they want to. We know Leo as a gorilla, of course, but his far slash or his 6H chains, he has the ability to play less belligerently and play a little bit more
He can go footsies with you if he wants.
Yeah, so...
Play the fireball game, play the anti-air game.
Okay, far slash at round start from Twofu, already just trying to represent this fireball game, playing a little bit more methodically, not wanting to do with anything, but Levity, all of that damage is literally just JP's.
Already getting corner pressure in. That's a whip DP. Show me your punish. Show me it's optimal. Not quite, but you know what? Still good damage. Getting that positive bonus. Blue RC. The shimmy. PRC. Oh, this is just throw chicken between the two of them at round start there.
Did you see the dash forward and then the immediate tap on FD in expectation of Levity to flash kick?
Yeah, if you tap FD, it does change your momentum a little bit. You can also use it to break your momentum entirely if you're grounded. Ooh, burst coming out. That's an interesting choice.
But, okay, I was going to say, in theory, Twofu could have closed that out on the one hit or 2 hits in general with the ability to chain the offense. And if you believe in your reads, then that's going to be great. There's that first flash kick represented from Levity, but Twofu controlling that ground game with that 2S. Another flash kick.
We're seeing Twofu going for a delay pressure. In Strive, one of the primary ways to get pressure on your opponent, take your block string, elongate it, add a little bit of pauses in there. That creates natural frame traps that your opponent can fall into. Twofu saying, go ahead, delay as much as you want. I got my flash kick on board, ready to challenge.
Right, there's that nerf to the 2D. 2D made more unsafe in this patch, and there's that throw already making these adjustments to the prevalence of the flash kick, but thought that only one instance was going to be necessary. If there's one thing I know about science, is that we do have to reproduce the experiment.
It's true. If it's not reproducible, it's not real. Shock state applied. Show me a tap dust.
Twofu even thought that he was close enough to get a close slash there. We saw a far slash. We were a little bit too far away. But Levity still not dissuaded. That one throw is not enough to get Levity off of that flash kick.
And what I'm seeing is most of these flash kicks are coming in between pressure sequences. It's not just off of hard knockdowns. Kai does have the ability to throw out that incredibly meaty fireball off of a hard knockdown, which does make getting the flash kicks a little harder to make safe. It gives Kai more time to confirm that you're not doing that. The backdash, however, gives you more time to bait out.
Oh my God, Levity!
Get out this man's head! 2Ks and back turn, giving pressure overhead, confirmed straight into the super. We're not quite dead yet, but Levity deep in the psychology of Twofu in this match.
Oh my God, my fireball's better.
He
Actually, what happened?
In front of his fireball to take it.
That's wild. Works out wonderfully for Levity. Levity's calls in, generating these sequences where he's forcing. It's not just about making great offensive reads. It's that Levity is managing to chisel away at the gaps in their opponent's offense.
Yes, and Twofu is, I don't know if offering too many of those gaps, if that's just a natural inclination in their playstyle. Maybe not. We'd have to talk to them a little bit to find out. BRC back, get some room. Oh my God. Flash kick challenges the approach that he knew was coming after the BRC drift back. If you drift back, you are almost certainly looking to create a whiff that you can rush in and punish. Levity's saying, look, if you're looking for that, I'm going to call that out. I'm going to flash kick. You're going to walk right into it. Hand me the round 2-0.
Oh my God. The burst comes out, and it was in the exact spot to get baited, but Twofu was not prepared to do anything off of it. Levity finding the party starter here, went for shimmy, no bite.
Kyle's a grappler, proving wrong. Locking down.
These long gaps. And it's Levity knows exactly when they have to press that issue and make their opponent. Oh, finally! And that's a big starter, the 2H starter.
We see adaptation coming out in game 3. Shimmy blocks or works around both flash kick and trying to throw on wake up. Doesn't matter though, I'll just do it again. Okay, we're jumping over fireballs. Watching out here.
Yep, 6K into plus frames, actually the most honest situation they had to press buttons, but so dissuaded that they actually surrendered plus frames off of 6K. Levity with the party starter, ride the lightning.
Get that knocked down. Get yourself some Oki. No, all right, that makes sense.
Oh, gets away with finally baits it.
This
You
should
can
be
see
death.
how heavy Twofu needs to specifically play around trying to force Levity to overcommit. It is entirely, even with Levity losing, Levity is still the one who has firmly set the pace of this set.
It's what we were talking about earlier in the bracket, I think with Oberon, giving the back throws on Testament.
Yes.
You keep using it until your opponent shows they know what to do. Twofu is now showing how to play around the flash kicks, which means Levity probably will start looking to vary up their escapes. That said, Twofu already getting a healthy 60% damage in. Signs of life for sure now later in the set.
Empty jump throw, going in, 5D tick. Okay.
We haven't seen the tap 5D so far represented either. That's just another layer to work around the flash kick. Flash kick has been coming out mostly between gaps. If you're just doing the tap 5D, there's no gap there if you're hitting overhead.
I like that choice, but overcommits. Twofu wanted for the throw, but Levy had already committed to the buttons. Levity was in back turn, wasn't he?
I think so.
You didn't need to go for the throw. You could have just accepted that you had gotten out of the corner and played more patiently.
Ooh. This is such a, oh no. That's a party starter 2H. You're in the corner. Ooh.
At
early
least,
wall break.
Yeah, that's beneficial. Blue RC forward drift, goes for a little micro shimmy, nothing comes of it. Oh my god! How many times? How many times is he gonna do it? Is this just the set now? That was
A+.
Double cross up. Are we gonna see another one? No, going for the guard break overhead and just the 2K check. But I have to imagine, I mean, Twofu just held back there. How many was that?
10 more? And he just got to sit there, building meter for free because he still had positive bonus.
This was Twofu's game plan.
You're gonna tap dust? All right, I'm gonna tap whatever button I want. That was so interesting of a set.
That was
to
bananas.
Watch. I mean, it makes sense for
BANANS.
Yeah. Is Gwen Stefani a gorilla? Do we know?
No.
Okay. We don't know, or she is not?
No, I don't think she's a gorilla.
Okay. Cool. Good to know.
No, she's not a gorilla. She ain't a hollaback girl either.
Well, so that's a known quantity.
Yeah.
So actually, another known quantity is the fact that game seemed to me to be all about commitment. It was, is Twofu going to play around Levity committing to the DP, flash kick, whatever you want to call it, versus is Levity going to choose to make that commitment? And eventually, it took until game 3 for Twofu to finally start saying, okay, this is happening long enough. I need to start adjusting my gameplay at least a little bit. So yeah. I'm glad to see that adaptation. I would like to see it a little earlier. I don't know Kai's toolset in depth enough to know if there are any safe jumps to employ, things like that. I think I would have liked to see a little bit more Fireball Oki, and then give Levity the chance to Fireball out after that, confirm the situation. Not necessarily confirm the hit, but the situation. Not too sure. Maybe there's room to work for that for next time.
Yeah, I think just the problem is like layer 1 is leaving space for the flash kick.
Yes.
But, and this is something that I've talked about, I mean, I've talked about it in Street Fighter too. You know, if your opponent is so respectful of your defensive options that they stop playing the game, then
that's a win.
Right, it doesn't matter whether you do the flash kick or not anymore. They're acting like you're gonna.
Yeah.
And so it's to Levity's credit, I think Levity did a fantastic job. It felt like the flash kick only ever came out when it was right.
Yes.
Right? Like, I can't help but feel like they're holding that down charge and they're going like, oh, there's a gap. If I see that limb,
all right, bet.
All I got to do is hit that button.
Yeah.
Maybe they play on one of those leverless controllers, the cheater boxes.
Yeah, one of those maybe a snack box micro, perhaps. Perhaps. No way to know.
Maybe we'll have to see.
In the meantime,
we have been given notice though that we are jumping up to do the winners finals. I think that Hypnotic is... Oh, no. So it looks like Hypnotic played off-stream against ShadowKlone.
How'd that go?
3-0 is the report in the bracket.
Ooh, in favor of?
In Hypnotic's favor.
Okay.
So losers semis will be Hypnotic versus Levity. But first, we're jumping up for this winners finals. Kazam and Echoes, the Millium Mirror.
That is a matchup and a half. It is volatile, it is fast, it is a very mentally taxing matchup because not only do you have to deal with doing your own fast-paced mix, you have to deal with reading your opponent's fast-paced mix. Now, it is alleviated by the fact that you pretty much know what they have available because, you know, it's what you have available.
Sure, I think the difficulty is how good... Millie is one of those matchups where you win, but you have to catch the fly.
Yep.
How many tools does Milia have to catch the fly?
Gonna have to find out. We are seeing Kazam coming out to a good start. 2 touches already, getting a solid 75% with a wall break. Nope.
No, doesn't want to play for the wall break. Instead, finds a counter hit, air-to-air JS. Echo's playing a little bit cheeky on the ground, finds a starter for themselves. But if Kazam is able to get out of this, it'll be 1 touch for Kazam.
Again, we see that same wall, another reset, but not quite enough to end it out because they didn't opt for the overdrive. BRC slowed down time just long enough, read the situation, get yourself a falling aerial, get yourself a win. Kazam, after starting off so strong, Echoes took that round. But here we go.
Oh my God.
Pressure again. What an interesting punish. Going for the Capel leaves just enough space for Echoes to challenge with the close lash.
Empty low. Kazam back in the driver's seat here. Is Kazam going to... No, still structuring the offense to get away from the wall break. Up, back, gets away from Echoes trying to dash forward throw. Dash out the bar. Oh, we don't even need to. The 2H wall splat is enough to do it and get the round on the board for Kazam.
You talked about those guts before. Amelia blows up, even if it's from Amelia. Okay, little out of range for the 2D to land, but that's okay. No punish. Throw. Somewhat fake OT, but I still gotta hold it if you play it right. Meter is building. Echoes in the driver's seat firmly. Ooh, Kazam finds the opportunity.
Also finds the delay air dash for that high option. Ooh, using all of the jumps afforded to them. Echoes goes up for the air throw. Kazam's like, nah, I got jumps to spare.
Empty jump into a throw, resets the pressure in the corner once again. Single overhead.
Oh my God, that double air dash to get a little bit more uptime. Reversal overdrive coming out from Kazam, and it is going to close out the first game.
That last scramble was so intense. There were so many small decisions to make there. And I'm not even sure what adaptation there is to make in this sort of match. I mean, it's there. We just have to keep a lookout for it. We're seeing a lot of throws so far. I really like representing the throws early because it means they have to respect it as an option even if some of your faker setups like throw Oki.
Right.
It means they still have to respect your disc Oki because you're willing to throw out the throw instead.
I think what Kazam is doing better is Kazam is, oh my goodness, 2K2D, the truest of mirrors. Reversal overdrive again. What I was going to say is Echoes is ending a lot of their block strings right into, you know, Swiss cheese, the pokes, to reset back to neutral. I feel like Kazam, and I don't know whether this is confirmation bias that Kazam is just finding the hits more, or if they're structuring their block strings more intelligently, but I feel like Kazam is getting more mileage out of when they're in the driver's seat than Echoes is.
I agree with that. We have definitely seen more opportunities to convert from Kazam, and also each conversion has been more meaningful.
Oh, 6P anti-air. We're going to close this one out with a perfect to end game 2.
Talking about it right just a second ago. Kazam in that driver's seat the entire match. Really clean conversions each time. Fairly optimal as far as I'm aware for my Milia knowledge. Nice little 2P challenge there. Doesn't fully convert, but that's okay.
And there it is again. Once again, you know, Echo's ending these block strings in pokes to reset back to neutral. And sure, using that far slash effectively here, but I feel like Kazam has nothing to worry about at that point. The second you're in those block strings, like, if you block the initial hit from Echoes, you know that you're safe to reset back to neutral. And that's a huge benefit to your mental stack. Echoes is about to close this one out. Okay, it hits actually super meaty to close out that round,
Was
but
a
still
little
on the back
drop
foot.
there too. Managed to pick it up, but a little worrying for Echoes. That was nasty. Mirage cross up as well. Not gonna break, I don't think. Nope. Okay,
No,
good throw
Kazam
tech.
does not care about a wall break unless it's to kill or to max damage there with the full charge 5D. Full health, navigating in behind that S disc, blocking the H disc, clipped by the glow slash. Echo's finally in the driver's seat for this round, but you have a lot of life to work your way back from. Empty low gets blocked, and then look at that. Just a far slash contest from Kazam once everything is done, and the reversal overdrive again!
Echoes refuses to play around the reversal overdrive. It is, I think, 3 for 3 in 3 games so far. Kazam looking to go into grands on the winner's side. Echoes.
Oh wow, even look at the structure for that reset there, specifically to bait the burst. Empty low. When are we going to see the burst comes out? It looks like Echoes is willing to wait a little bit. Now the wall is going to break off of this overdrive.
So little guts, so little scaling. Is that enough? That is death. Kazam 3-0 going into grand finals over Echoes in a dominating fashion.
Echoes hung on to that burst there, wanting to use it in a less obvious spot. Here's the problem. You did not have the life to gamble with it. And the fact that the offense kept going in the way that it did, like, you can play around not breaking the wall, sure. But that wall splat property is that passive value that goes down gradually. So just because you slumped off the wall the first time doesn't mean that you're back to, like, needing a full combo to wall splat again.
Right.
The next hit is just re-slumping you. So Kazam had that spot and was able to just cash out as soon as possible, and it was like, yeah, you're not going to get another chance to use your burst. Once you wall splat, your stuff is burst safe now. So by hanging on to the burst, they actually just locked themselves out of using it altogether.
And dying with burst feels so bad.
It does.
Dying with a resource unspent is unfortunate. We have ShadowKlone versus Levity coming up next in just a minute. But before we get to that,
no, was the bracket updated? Is it ShadowKlone Levity?
Yep.
I thought it was. Oh, the score was originally reported incorrectly.
Ah, interesting.
Because I had seen Hypnotic over Levity at first. Yeah, so ShadowKlone Levity. How is that going to go? Wait, didn't they play on the winner's side?
Maybe. Did they? That does sound familiar.
I know ShadowKlone went. Yes.
Okay, we're hearing confirmation. ShadowKlone won that 3-1 up on the top side of the bracket, so getting the run back. Gonna have to see if there's any adaptation they can make. Speaking of adaptation, there was one strange thing that I do want to talk about from that last game. It was the ability to convert a situation into H-Disc Oki versus a button meaty.
Okay.
Echoes had this penchant for doing run-up meaties instead of trying to space into H-Disc.
Okay.
And I think, I'd have to go back and check the tapes, but it looked to me like there was something about Echo's combo structures that left him at slightly too much distance away from where the hard knockdown left his opponent to be able to actually get the H-Disc meaty spaced correctly. So with that hard knockdown, you do have time to run up and get your meaty, but you're not getting nearly as much reward, right? The blender on H-Disc Oki is Millie's win condition.
Sure.
Whereas on the other side, being able to get the H-Disc Oki every single time off of how you were mentioning, making the most of your combo conversions and making the most of being in the driver's seat, meant that Echoes fell just a little short on those conversions, and therefore a little short on getting the Oki win condition.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was. I imagine that's at the very least part of it, but I think just in general, I think Kazam had a better control over that engine.
Yes,
altogether. Because, like, for me, and I believe that you're right.
There's many factors that play.
I think for me, I just keep getting back to that block structure. It felt like if Kazam got in, you had to, as a defender, make meaningful decisions the whole time Kazam was in and driving. And it felt like against Echoes, on the flip side, with Echoes, once you blocked that first hit, the block string was just going. And it was like, all right, this block string's ending where it ends. The block pressure felt autopilot. It wasn't bringing in those additional layers of making their opponent meaningfully interact that Kazam was doing.
Yes, I agree with that. Well, that's going to bring us to Levity and ShadowKlone. They're just sitting down and setting up now. Potentially one of these two going to get into that losers finals for the run against Echoes to make it into Grands.
Yeah, you gotta get past this to run the Milia Gauntlet.
It's true. Oh God, you're right. If someone were to make the losers run, it'd have to be through 2 Milias. That is a frightening prospect.
Did you witness what I just witnessed? A character. Okay, Levity's got the fastest character select screen in the West because it said go, and I swear to you, it was Nago on the screen and not Leo.
That would have been spicy.
That would have been quite a call. But no, Levity is on the Leo, ShadowKlone on the Jacko that we have seen so much from them. Representing that early JD. ShadowKlone really likes to do that, be a little bit more defensive at round start, stick out that JD, and then earn the chance to get the minions out later. Rather than trying to deal with that round start position interaction that we so often see. Levity trying to make brief work of this, though. Is this going to, with minimal gut scaling? No, you're still alive.
Now we're living out here, but positive bonus, potentially worth the meter expenditure. Yep. Walk up, calmly throw. Thank you for the round, good sir.
Once again, another early JD represented. The trade with the minion into the limb, but it actually works out for ShadowKlone's favor because ShadowKlone moves in around the minion. Nah, I cover the skies, my guys. Super for the wall break. That seems like it might be late. No, we do get it.
Is that enough? Looks like a pixel. Just a sliver left. Do get to set up with the hard knockdown. Backdash out of the throw. It's Leo time, baby.
Oh,
YRC, it is no longer Leo time, baby.
Yeah, I like ShadowKlone's defensive resource utilization there. Taking off the mask, wants to see a little better. The fireball from Leo actually completely blowing away JD representation for ShadowKlone. ShadowKlone,
oh my
opting
God!
into some shields.
That was 3 shields in a row into a soccer ball kick to get control of the neutral against the fireballs. That was incredible.
Oh, the extra side switch has to burn the burst to ShadowKlone, but the shield not only beats the fireball, but breaks the Berserker slash.
So active! 6P doesn't matter when it's going behind you and hitting low. ShadowKlone playing the range game. 2D, counter hit coming through.
The 6P beats the minion, another minion loses out on the trade after the fact, but ShadowKlone still has a dominant life lead here.
Kick it at him! Little late. There it is. Kept control of the range, kept dominant control of the neutral for so long there. Leo just didn't find a way to get in. Levity also hasn't represented that flash kick too much yet. So we're going to have to see if ShadowKlone plays around that once it becomes relevant.
Oh my
I
God.
am loving this shield usage.
And the flash kick finally comes out, but doesn't find the punish? You could have even just gone for a back throw there. No back throw to steal corner here. Do we want to keep him mid-screen specifically for mix-up choices? Flash kick finally working out this time for Levity. The counter hit on the far slash.
That's okay. I like that bet from ShadowKlone. ShadowKlone said, if you flash kick, okay, I'll eat that damage. If you don't, I have my win condition. I'm going to bet the game on this, and if I lose, I'm still fine.
I like the choice there to go for throw. That's anti-flash kick.
You know, so many people talk about ShadowKlone and Jacko having that win condition of getting you in the corner, overwhelming you with pressure. ShadowKlone hasn't done that once this game. It's just been space control and honestly godlike reactions on the shield over and over. I am so impressed with the way ShadowKlone is handling the fireball game.
Yeah, it's been really crazy. Having to go a little bit more buck wild now is Levity representing these flash kicks. Trying to chase down. Another thing that Levity's doing really well is, you know, a lot of times Jacko will try to throw the minions out from the air and just drop them.
That wasn't confirmed.
Oh no. Yes! Cross up, gonna be able to close it out with the overdrive confirm.
Someone's been listening to the birthday boy. Look out for that corner cross up like you called out earlier. ShadowKlone 2-0 in such a commanding fashion after Levity was looking so strong in the bracket up until now. Don't be wrong, still looking great, but shimmying the throw, forcing out the burst.
The shield has been such a big differentiator here. 2K 2D as a counter poke. You know what? We'll even take the flash kick trade on the cross up. Going for the extra side switch there was Levity to regain corner position.
Has a full bar. Easy confirm. All right, Levity, little momentum going, getting back on the board there. We've seen ShadowKlone backdash at round start, I think, every game so far.
Yeah, it's either backdash or up back JD.
Yes.
And that's really it. I wonder, but like, what is your answer to that, right? Like, you need a like very high air dash, like JS to control the space as Leo, right? Or you, I mean...
Ooh, no punish on the flash kick there. That's okay. We got games to work with.
What a check on the Berserker Slash.
Going for preemptive shields now,
I
not
love
really
it.
defensive.
Did you see that? Through the air minion, prompting Levity to 6P, which was then whiff punished with the minion that was in front of him. ShadowKlone is doing such a fantastic job of playing 2 to 3 different spots on the screen at the same time.
Yes. We saw that when they're up in the air, too.
Ooh,
that works? The cross-up got blocked.
And baits the flash kick again! Come on, ShadowKlone!
Shield rebuking the cross-up, gets a punish.
These 2K checks keep blowing up the Berserker Slash, and it's forcing Levity, like, Levity's using Berserker Slash in these spots as a poke, right? Like, just to try to get in. And it's forcing Levity to have to use these different resources instead to try to get in. The amount of respect there. Oh my god, the run back!
You can't catch me! You can't catch me! Okay, my turn. You're in the corner now. PRT traded. Overhead does confirm this time.
2Ks, but places the 2D just like that. We're out of the corner. Look at the amount of respect. Levity has finally been dissuaded from flash kicking.
The jump in, JK manages to make it happen. I'm looking for a flash kick again.
Into the throw! ShadowKlone!
Dash up FD in your face beats so many things, but it doesn't beat the throw. ShadowKlone deep in Levity's head, reading this man's mind, reading his way into the next round of the bracket. Like ShadowKlone, I am flabbergasted. That was immaculate.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be the one that sends Levity home,
you gotta
do
prepared.
it as the person that finally is like, no, you're gonna block. You're gonna block. It's like Levity blocked.
A lot.
Levity held that.
And you know why? Because ShadowKlone made him. That was not a passive adaptation.
Yes.
That was conditioned into the set.
Yeah. In fact, it's a big differentiator to what we saw in the Levity Twofu match earlier.
Yes.
Where it's not enough just to respect the flash kick. You need to dismantle it.
Yes.
ShadowKlone dismantled the defensive tendencies of Levity there. And the offensive ones. The 2K and 2D checks blowing up either, dash 5K or Berserker Slash, S slash as the opener made it so much harder. Shield as the answer to fireballs. Here we are in the losers finals now. Echoes versus ShadowKlone.
Top 3 starts here. ShadowKlone off a win, Echoes off a loss. Often said that the losers finals can really be hard to play from the winner's side because your opponent's hot, you're cold. Doesn't look like it here though. Echoes already off to a great start. Has that bar. Good challenge coming out from ShadowKlone though. Your landing wasn't gapless. Was there a burst? I thought I saw the burst. I did.
Yeah, I do want to highlight, this is a run back. This was the winner side top 8 match, and Echoes did take this 3-0 when they played there, and it was Echoes' defensive decision making that really blew this up. ShadowKlone, it was so hard for ShadowKlone to find the opportunities to start running their game that, Echoes having the burst when they did and taking as long as it took in between ShadowKlone's opportunities meant that ShadowKlone really just never got the opportunity to start for very long.
Yeah. And as we saw in the last match, ShadowKlone knows what to do when they get started. Yes. So we're going to have to see if they can navigate neutral as well as they did in the last set. Meter expenditure.
Oh
Okay,
my
blender
God.
time.
That was what was crazy about that. That was a fake overhead. That was like a JP that hit too high and made the fastball even harder to block. We're gonna overdrive for the wall splat and the wall break here. That doesn't kill.
Just a sliver left. Hard knockdown though.
Oh, run up Bad Moon.
That instant overhead on the TK Bad Moon, very hard to respond to. Has not been represented yet in the set. That is a new threat that ShadowKlone now has to have on the mental stack. That air mobility coming through from Milia really well there.
And it's hard for Jacko to answer to it, right? All she can really do is she can try to jump up and meet Milia in the air and throw the minion of her own. But Milia has so much mobility, she can even then just kind of get over it. 5D gets blocked.
Enough meter to go overdrive into overdrive, just barely catches on the falling. Good rounds. This is exactly what you were mentioning before. If ShadowKlone does get in, ShadowKlone is in. But Milia can make it really difficult for Jacko.
Yeah, it's Jacko just... I think once you do get the fly, she's fine. But I do not think that Jacko really has the resources to catch the fly. Nice starter there. And I mean, one thing is like, can you afford to play a little bit more passively? If you get a nice hit like that and get a life lead, can you try to pick your shots a little more? It turns out it looks like no, you can't, because the fly is still all over you.
Now, Ekos knows how to navigate that exact situation very well, using the speed advantage to get in before Jacko has an opportunity to set up those minions we saw in the previous neutral interaction, and here converting into a win off of the stray hit in the defense gaps.
And that was another thing in their winner side match. We'd go for this JD, and Echo used that opportunity to dash forward, go underneath, claim the space, even get an anti-air close / counter hit. Exactly like that. It's a tendency of ShadowKlones that Milia seems very equipped to blow up.
Okay, utility scooper extends the combo. I got hit there. I lost track of where I was. I lost track of where H-Disc was relative to me. Meaty hit.
Right. How much are we worried about the burst? Enough that we're playing for throw. Reversal overdrive gets baited. There's the burst that comes out. But exactly what I mean. Look at how many defensive choices that Echo's got to make there, and ShadowKlone is no longer really in the position to get a whole lot out of it. The minions are out, finding the threaded the needle.
Yeah,
that 2D there.
Echo's tried to challenge, triple minion on top of you, stacked, threatening, imposing. Squad is on you. Challenge with the 2P. ShadowKlone says, nah. PRC, I'm gonna go under your 2P, get that hit, close out that round.
Oh, okay. We baited the burst. We only get the throw for it, but I think if I'm ShadowKlone, I'm completely comfortable with this screen position. Minions are out.
This is terrifying. Look at that risk gauge. It's cranked so high. That damage is usually not that high. Risk gauge was cranked all the way up into the red from that overwhelming, stifling pressure. These 2Ds are getting a lot of opportunities for ShadowKlone. Putting Ekos right back into the corner yet again. Tried to run through. Tried to do the Milia thing. Didn't work out.
And now, manages to find the 2K challenge. Critically important there. Echo's life in this round may well have rested on that 2K. Empty low gets blocked. We're continuing the offense with the PRC, finding the throw.
Ooh. Counter hit on the CS. Is that enough? Not quite. Just a sliver. One touch game either way. JD. Ooh, can't quite convert. I was wrong. Not quite the one touch. Is this going to do it?
Gonna close it out. We will have the combo after that. Calls out the homie overdrive. 2 games to 1 here for ShadowKlone now.
Sometimes all the homies need to close it out is a little bit of encouragement. Jacko, #1 cheerleader in Guilty Gear Strive. Echo's coming out swinging, but it's not happening right now.
Oh, going for
okay, there we go.
Fake cross up does not work out for them, dealing with this corner offense now. Empty low gets blocked. One thing is...
Couple into the corner!
Huge, finding the regular throw. Right into the wall break. The wall splat damage was still pretty high. S-disc when you're frame disadvantage.
Nice quick challenge. air-to-air still in favor of ShadowKlone. YRC expenditure.
Dead.
One
Set
more
point.
game.
Set point for ShadowKlone.
Peeking into grand finals. Echo's looking for the run back. Empty low does get blocked out. Milia says, no, that's my game plan. I know what you're going for.
Yeah, that close slash getting called out. You got this corner pressure, just going right back in, turning it into a spacing trap on the pokes.
Mirage.
All this FD. Wow, what a super jump. But ShadowKlone actually navigates out of that with a jump of their own, going for the double fake cross up, keeping this corner position. All the minions are out.
Just needs one more hit.
Oh, you're dead. That's raw scaling into the wall break. You are dead. That is the set for ShadowKlone, answering the 3-0 in the winner's side with a 3-1 of their own.
Reversal Halcyon was not represented yet in the set. Maybe once that I didn't clock it, but this time, placing it just right, having conditioned the opponent by not doing it to not respect it, not look out for it. Rides Metal Iron Maiden all the way straight into Grands.
Ooh, what a stressful set. And wow, I gotta say, ShadowKlone, what a performance. Do it 2 more times, but against, no disrespect to Echoes, I think a Milia with a much stronger offensive engine.
I would agree. At the very least, a more conventional and therefore more developed engine. When you're playing Standard, you have the pool of all the people playing your character to pull from, their knowledge base. And I think Echoes structured their offense in a non-standard way, if it was intentional, which means there's a little bit less expertise to draw from.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I want to call it non-standard.
Right.
I think the way Echoes constructed, particularly like the block string pressure, is the thing that I keep coming back to. Is I see the trap that they fell into, right? It's just like, here's the tools you have, here's the safe on block ender option that puts you back to neutral, and you're fine.
Yep.
And that is a very valuable thing to know what it is and how to use it.
But there's got to be more.
You need to develop past it.
Yes.
And, you know, we saw it most strikingly in winners finals in the mirror match. Kazam had elevated what to do when the layer 1 pressure wasn't working and had to develop offensive pressure. And it felt to me like Echoes, it was the movement was there, a lot of the mix-up choices were there, but once the decision was made, that was that.
Yep.
Kazam, it felt like you weren't out until you were out. How is ShadowKlone going to meet this?
And Twitch chat, how are you going to represent yourselves right now? This is your last chance. This is Grand Finals, Boston Blue Beat Beach episode, Guilty Gear Strive. Maturino codes, last chance to get them in. Show your love in chat for who.
Oh!
Ooh, no. Okay, we need...
Off of that start,
I think we need TO intervention here. Does that count as a round loss? Does that count as a reset? What do we do in this situation? You can see
Kazam seriously got burst baited at second 97
out of 100,
and
that hurts because there was momentum that was built up over the course of 2 losers run victories for ShadowKlone there that gets stymied. Ooh. So we're gonna see what's going to happen here. I'm sure our lovely bracket runner will let us know what has to happen as a result of this. I know that
like
oftentimes...
you don't know whose pad it is, so you can't like offer a round loss to anyone. It's so early. You just reset.
Looks like we're just resetting.
We were literally 5 seconds into the round.
Yeah.
But what a 5 seconds to lose.
Got hit by that big rollback. Offline rollback, it happens. Who knew?
I didn't know. I wasn't ready for it. I thought that only happened when you were in the tower.
I got mixed by the netcode. All right, well, so I was wrong. Twitch chat viewers, this, I swear, I promise you this time, is your last chance. Show your support in chat. Show your support in the match arena. Show your support by signing up for Metafy with the code BEACH10 for 10% off your first lessons. Tell them Beach Boston Blue Beat sent you. Beach Day.
maybe one of the myriad of ShadowKlones. Let's see. If I'm ShadowKlone, how do you not get tilted off of that? That was the perfect starter for you.
You do it again. That's how.
You do it again. Holy crap. Momentum burst to keep the corner.
But the burst has a meaningful impact. Look at the burst bars. Milia has no burst built up. Jacko does because the burst hit. Down to 5% life off of 2 interactions. Okay, get something started for Kazam. Show me your conversions.
All right, the air moon does pop the wall.
Got positive bonus on both sides here.
It's just clipped with the low. I didn't even see Kazam land. We're not going to be able to kill. We go for the H-disc YRC, but it actually gets baited because Kazam went for the extra jump. There's that elevation on the offensive structure that's come out from Kazam that I was talking about.
Absolutely. One more layer that ShadowKlone is going to have to manage. Capel gets out of the corner. Capel gets into the corner.
The minion is out. 5D hits the minion in. It's not a meaningful overhead, though. We're a little too far away to represent it as a proper threat, and Kazam weathers the storm, finds a hit of his own.
Ooh, I love that empty jump into the low. We're breaking the wall here. Full grip-o-meter for both of these.
Oh, no whiff punish. Kazam actually backing way off, wants to wait, use the correct opportunity, and finds it off of a even more explosive game start than we saw before the long ago, before the calamity of the bad situation.
Ooh, gold burst before the H-disc has a chance to get those active frames going.
Go ahead. We spent that gold burst. Okay, gold burst from Kazam coming out this time now, and Kazam is going to make more meaningful use of that meter than ShadowKlone did.
Has super. There it is. Hard knockdown, positive bonus, advantageous reset. So little health, so little guts.
Oh, so I like that. Kazam actually going for that layer 1, but in meaningfully in iterating on top of the spacing trap that happens after. Going specifically for a low crushing move because of ShadowKlone's tendency to 2D in those spots.
Kazam also has an interesting read here. ShadowKlone has been relying on that advancing whirlwind kick in neutral often, so Kazam is throwing out raw backdashes, trying to anticipate that. Caught ShadowKlone out several times already with that adaptation. There it is, going for a jump over instead this time. Doesn't land, but I like the look.
Right, YRC. The way that where Kazam is using these YRCs, the fact that it's also killing, like, usually at least one, if not 2 minions, ends up being a big deal. Finding the throw, all the minions are set up, now you gotta weather the storm, but finds the way through with the falling JS.
Backdash catches out Kazam, though. I want to say, you highlighted that throw in the corner that ShadowKlone went for in between pressure resets. That is something that we saw ShadowKlone use heavily in previous matches that hasn't gotten going yet in this set. So we're going to have to see whether or not ShadowKlone can find those opportunities, find those punishes. But it's so hard. A 3-frame button against a character as quick as Milia, who can do this much damage, just might not be enough sometimes.
Right, that was, I mean, I talk a lot about how Milia is, you know, not the most explosively damaging character. She's getting a lot of hits, but hey, if you get the right starter against a character like Jacko, who has such little guts, that is going to be explosive. A comparatively quick 2 games here for Kazam.
Chat, ShadowKlone needs your energy. This is the time. Show your support. ShadowKlone's on that last chance. Needs to win this one to stay in Grand Finals. So off to a good start already. 3 little homies getting work done. Counter hit. Doesn't quite get it. Air throw? No, the Capel hitbox!
Jeez, it actually protected them. It should have been the air throw for game.
I like that
Has
ShadowKlone.
to burn the burst. That's so unfortunate off of this TK of a life lead. And now Kazam, all of this life is extra. All of this pressure is extra. If you win out this round as Kazam, then you deserve this dub. Finding the anti-air, we've got some bar going for an extra H-disc because that's going to make the difference here, because when you overdrive for this wall break, it should kill with the minimum gut scaling.
Not quite! Daisuke's vision includes a pixel of health. with just enough meter to make something happen. Milia still has burst, but not enough health for it to be worthwhile. 5K into a 2D. Oh,
The grip that I just had on my chair.
the
watching
robber
that.
is robbed. 2D sends you into the corner again.
What's wild too is that round took so long for Kazam to finally lose that ShadowKlone actually got their burst back. Has to use the burst immediately, does Kazam, because we don't want to take that full charge 5D damage. But ShadowKlone hangs on a little bit. We're going to get that burst back.
Send him into the corner. Burst is available, like you said. Guesses correctly. Challenges with the 2K.
Empty low. Reversal overdrive. That's going to wall break too.
Again, lives on a pixel. ShadowKlone. Paid his health insurance. Is this going to
That's
hit?
a cross-up.
Where's the hitbox? PRC keeps it safe. I got hit by that. I didn't see the homie.
No, I saw the homie drop down, but the wise use of the double jump.
Who's alive? Who's alive?
Kazam took the round.
It's one apiece. Kazam's looking to close out the tournament.
2K 2D, but ShadowKlone literally just cancels faster. Wins out on the trade.
Good burst. You had to do that. Can't let that blender get started.
But the blender is started. Far H.
Are we resetting or breaking the wall? Wall break. We have meter for it. Positive bonus is going to come through. One more chance, ShadowKlone. You got to make this happen.
Oh, both of them just going for empty jumps. There's so much respect for the other's anti-airs so far. Went for a side swap combo, just barely doesn't get it. PRC actually gets punished by the 2K check coming out from Kazam. And Kazam should be able to close this out. That will break the wall for the tournament. 3-0 from the winner's side of Grand Finals. Kazam taking it over ShadowKlone.
ShadowKlone almost making it happen there. Had a great run through losers, had incredible pressure, just couldn't quite convert it this time. That is going to be Kazam, who has had so much success lately at these events. What is that? I think third or fourth event of his that I'm aware of recently that has been in top 3, if not winning.
I can't speak to the weeklies.
Right,
but
right.
I know every monthly since the patch dropped.
Yes.
I think, and the patch dropped, what, June?
June 10th.
So, yeah, we're 2 for 2 right now for Kazam. Kazam did not drop a game the whole tournament.
That is the nuttiest fact. That is 3 O's through the entirety of the bracket. Milia's eating? No, Kazam's
You're
eating.
built different. You're built different.
Truly out
But
here.
it's those innovations on that offensive structure. It's at no point did it feel like you truly figured out how Kazam was coming at you.
Yes.
Oh.
All right. Well, with
That
all
exhausted me. That was an exhausting Grand Finals.
All that said and done, that is going to be Strive for the day. However, a few shout-outs. Just because Strive is done does not mean the Matcherino is done. We have several more events between 2 streams. This is merely one of many of the day. We are Legion, we are Myriad, and all are needing your support through Matcherino. So exclamation mark, Matcherino in the chat. We will be having, I believe, new sets of Matcherino for each tournament because they each have their own prize pool, so you can donate to each of those if you are feeling magnanimous on this, the day of Brad's birth. You can also catch him for DNF coming up, I believe, on this stream right after a quick break. So if you're not done with him yet, he's not done with you the way we are not done with you either. Boston Blue Beat Beach episode. This has been Guilty Gear Strive. I've been LaserGician.
I'm Brad Muse. I'll see you again shortly.